Hey, well, hi everyone. Hello. So today's farmers almanac thing, I'm gonna be doing zodiac signs today because I feel like spending a little. Well, I've pulled a few cards and spent quite a bit of time on here, but I don't know. I just feel like running through the zodiac today. And so one of my things, in the Dream Spell Mayan calendar, I my challenge is the White World Bridger, which is all about accepting that death is a part of life and letting things go. And that's been another thing that I've been learning to do, or that I learned to do last year, especially. And so maybe that's why I'm more coming into myself because that's one of my challenges. I guess I don't know. And I kind of hold on to a lot of things. And even when I got this tearaway day by day calendar, I was like, oh, I don't want to tear any of the pages. So I did it today. I'm still, I didn't throw them away yet. I am going to throw them away because I feel like throwing them away completes the experience. But here are the pages that I tore. And it's all about passion fruit this weekend, which is interesting. And it's like I got this calendar. I've already showed it, but I have this calendar that shows me the whole month. Let's turn this on because I feel like I might hold something up here. I have this calendar that shows me the whole month, and then this one that shows me the day. And I might actually flip this over now. I feel like I can make it. The storm is over now. This one is Super Mario Brothers. You or we you? I think that's new Super Mario Brothers U. I don't know. And the calendars are off to the side today. I don't know why. Maybe time is going to be a thing. I don't like that side as much. So today, a passion fruit for northern gardeners, the hardy maypop Passiflora incarnata survives winters in Zone 5 and warmer. Now, I don't know what Zone 5 or how warm Zone 5 is, but there's something that can survive in the winter. That's cool, right? Hold up, wait. There we go. Boom. There you go. It's a struggle today. And I'm wearing this jacket because I wanted to open my windows and turn on the fans and get some fresh air in here. And it's cold. So let's get into this. I'm going to major minor chord. I'm going to timestamp as I go. Timestamps will be in the description box after the video is concluded. And these are not in order. That sounds like me. What else is going on in the world? I had an interesting dream last night. I know what my next dream quest is. Something, though, tells me that I'm not going to find it in a dream, which is fine. Because, a dream is another altered state of mind, so technically, right? But there were like some zombies or something, and they was like, it was me and this group of people, and I had another dream where it was like people were like, it was, if you've ever seen Interstellar 5555, I've never seen it in its completion, and I love Daft Punk, so that's something that I'm gonna have to correct one of these days. Here, probably fairly soon, honestly. Where it was like some kind of like singers or whatever, and they were abducting them and taking them to alien planets, and I was like, oh my gosh, I ain't trying to get addicted. And there was this thing that they sent us that I guess to like confirm registration or enrollment or whatever. So I'm gonna put the all giving or the all gifted in, and that's gonna be like the all signs card. whenever and wherever that comes out. Aces are going to be major, minor, quarter. Okay, here we go. Aces are going to be majors. Pages are going to be minors. Or the princesses are going to be minors. But anyway, they were like abducting people. And there was this one thing, and somebody was there. They had like my entry ticket or whatever. And they pushed the button, and I'm like, why'd you do that? Now they're going to know where I am. And so I was dodging people, and I saw my art teacher from middle school. And last time I saw her, I don't think she remembered me. So this time when she approached me, I was like, oh, hey, Mrs. Skinner. And she's like, oh, hey. And she was talking to me, and somebody got injured. So I was taking them to the nurse, and I was like, oh, I gotta go. And then she was trying to stop me. But then I heard her talking to somebody else. This one dude who, it's like, I was Facebook friends with him, and we would talk on Facebook, but we wouldn't talk to each other in real life when we saw each other. He's not someone I saw often, and honestly, IRL, he was kind of intimidating. He's not intimidating in like stature. It's just like his face and his demeanor. Turns out he's a Scorpio, but I don't know if that's relevant information. Oh, well, there's the death card. So the card says it is relevant. And I heard her talking to him, and she was like, oh, do you know like Patrick Woodson? And he was like, yeah, you were just talking to him. And I was like, oh crap, she's trying to abduct me. But I hurried out to the nurse because somebody was like needed the nurse. But anyway, last night it was like some kind of zombies or something. I have the title card. I'll put it here. And I was dodging them. And then somehow they found me towards the end of the dream, and they tried to like infect me with their zombie stuff or whatever, but it didn't work. I was like, oh, okay, work. I don't know. I didn't watch anything about zombies last night. I don't typically watch stuff about zombies. I'm not typically interested in zombie things. Honestly. Typically, Six of Pentacles and the Six of Swords are together, and the Four of Wands was with the Four of Cups. So I just think that's interesting. I should like kind of be looking at these cards. I haven't even looked at all of these cards yet. Like I haven't even gone through this deck to look at all the cards. But I like, you know, seeing them fresh for the first time. Seven of Pentacles, Seven of Wands together. Five of Wands, Nine of Swords. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's all 12 signs plus the all gifted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 22 majors plus 4 aces. And then the rest of the cards are with the minors. Here we go. Give these a few shuffles. So, knights are immutable. Queens are cardinal. Kings are fixed. And then the element will give us the element. So, for example, the Knight of Cups, mutable water, Pisces. And then I'll look at the major that they get, and then I'll pull a minor, and we'll piece together something for Pisces to know, something now-ish. Take it as it resonates always, so Do dates even matter? Well, I guess if it's predictive, then the date matters because you don't know if it'll resonate before it starts to happen. But it shouldn't be completely incongruent with your life, I guess. Unless you see like a tower or something. Then it's like, oh, this is something that you didn't expect. But even when it's not a tower, sometimes in that month, something happens. And it's like, how do I know what resonates for 3 weeks from now today? And that's when you fill it out. Or, I don't know, I think I'm getting into a broader argument about predictive measures and the power that we give them, I guess, or something. I don't know. Take it as it resonates. Ooh! Nope, they almost tried to come out. I'm up early today. Not complaining, just noting. Alright, that feels good. Next is the majors. I did the soybean competition with one of my best friends / my only frenemy. And they had a lot of incentives. Like this jacket was one of them. I have a blue windbreaker. I have, let's see if I can pull it up. I think it's this one. Oops. Yep, it's this one. I got this like binder portfolio. I got like 3 golf umbrellas, but they all broke. They were huge though. Huge. I got a Yeti. I got, a cute little tour bag. It's so cute. It's in a thing. It's one of those things where you get like a little thing and then you get different heads to attach to it. I got, what else? Some shirts. Flash drives that have all just disappeared. I grabbed like 3 of them. Somehow I lost like every single one. Well, I lent one to a group because there was a lab in my bio, whatever lab it was, and we needed flash drives. And they were like, oh, we forgot to bring a flash drive. And I keep like 5 flash drives in my book bag. So I just gave them one. I lent them one. I can't remember if they gave it back. And then one of them we put the project on. And I think that's it. I'm sure there's some more stuff, but heavily incentivized, which, I mean, we were going to do it anyway, but it got us to do it quicker. It was such a good experience. I learned a lot about myself in that. Mostly that I like entrepreneurship. Surprisingly, I didn't think of myself as a business person. I guess I'm not surprised that I like the marketing aspect. Like, we filmed a little commercial. We came up with the slogan. We had to like prototype and package our product. And that was really fun. Like, the creative side of it was really fun. And then talking about it, like pitching it and selling it was really fun, especially since I knew about it. The whole process, honestly, was fun. It was stressful, of course, because most teams are like 3 to 4 people, and they're like graduate students, and it was me and my undergraduate friend, like 2 undergrads. And it was our first time doing it, so we didn't have any experience before, and we're just very different people. I'm a Capricorn 10th house, and he's probably like a Pisces 10th house. Because I was doing everything, and he wasn't doing nothing. And I'm a Pisces, so don't at me. He did not have an Earth. Well, I guess that isn't technically. Well, yeah, I'm a Capricorn 9th house too. So I got Capricorn on my 9th and 10th. Because that's more. I think that's between the 9 and 10. Because 9 is like higher education. King of Cups. He's a Scorpio 10th house. I see it. I'm just playing. But the ninth house is like higher education. The 10th house is like career and stuff like that. So it wasn't necessarily like exactly career, but whenever I'm on the job, I'm like Earth sign, full Earth. I'm either Virgo 6 or Capricorn 10. Either way, I am more organized on the clock than I am in my day to day life, than I'm capable of being in my day to day life. It's so weird. But when my brain is like, oh, I'm getting paid for this, it's like full Earth sign all the way. And yeah, he taught me to take it seriously, and I did. He didn't know how seriously I can take things when I take things seriously. I think a lot of people are surprised by the level of quality of my work when I take it seriously, because typically it's been my experience that I don't have to try too hard to succeed in academics, and so I don't really. I think a lot of people are like it like this, but I don't know what I'm fully capable of because I've never been in a situation where I've had to give my all. And like the only difference is the last, like from November to the top of December, when I had like a few weeks to complete 2 senior design classes and I was doing like everything. I finished it and I got B's. Um, and so that was a little bit of me. Like I knew I was capable of doing it, but and something that isn't like last minute because I procrastinated, you know. Okay. That's where we're going to start with this card that just fell on the floor. Someone's like, all right, Patrick, shut up. Oh, we're starting with the King of Wands. This is Horus. All right, Leo. I don't think I've ever started with Leo before. Where my phone is? Oh, wait, I'll take that back. Because I think Leo might actually be at the top of... Where's my phone? Hey, Siri. Where are you? Oh.
I'm over here.
Literally right next to my leg. Okay. Yeah, Leo was the first this time too, because I got Leo at the top. So shout out to Leos for being first 2 times in a row. Where my time at? 17:40. All right, Leo, let's get into it. Let's see what your major, well, let's see what your major and your minor are. Let me get this situated. I think I'm gonna be kind today, and I'm gonna do it facing you. There you go. Why not? I'm feeling it, even though this angle is kind of weird. Kind of weird. And the camera just died. Oh my gosh! 1 second. There we go. It's back. I had to turn it off and turn it back on. I don't know why it stops, but it did. Okay. So, Leo, all of this is part of your reading. So, you may be organizing things in your own life. You may be getting things together. Right? And I think for Leo, it's interesting. Whenever you have a sign as extroverted or as, I don't want to say externally focused or externally driven or motivated, but it involves the environment. Cancer is the same way. I mean, every sign can be like that, but it's a heavy, I feel like for Cancer, it's more about creating that environment. For Leo, it's kind of about being the center of attention, because it's all about the things that you can warm or give life to with the light of that sun energy, that solar energy, right? And so, but I think still there's a point where you have to find the balance between what you do for others and what you do for you, or like what you do to look a certain way for others and what you do to feel about you. And I would say, honestly, like, take a lesson from a Queen of Wands. Because I think she would be an energy that would be grounded and rooted in self, but also engaging with the environment around her. So if you have an Aries in your life, I don't know, it doesn't necessarily feel like Aries. It's like Queen of Wands. And so maybe it's a time for you to get clearer on who you are and what you're about before you go out there, right? It's like if you're selling or pitching something, or if you're the entrepreneur, you should know fully or more fully about what it is that you're selling, because you're going to encounter questions that you can't even anticipate. And while you can sort of brainstorm and anticipate a lot of things, and while it is smart to do so, so you know, like, so you're prepared, not everything can necessarily be accounted for before you're actually in the situation. Now, you have the Empress and the Nine of Pentacles. The Emperor. This is the Emperor. You have the Emperor and the Nine of Pentacles. It's interesting because it's more of that Aries energy with the Emperor. And I'm reading Queen of Wands as Cardinal Fire, which is Aries. And maybe that's the thing, though, right? Because with Cardinal Fire, it's like you have to build the fire before you can sit around it, or before you're warm, like before you can toast a s'more or toast a marshmallow, right? You have to build the fire. So Leo would be the campfire that everyone's roasting weenies and toasting marshmallows and making s'mores off of. But Aries is like when you're sitting down and making that fire. Sagittarius is like when you're telling scary ghost stories, or you're talking by the fire before you go to bed, before you put it out, right? And so Sagittarius is like the cool down, the wind down. Leo is the most lively part. But before you can be all that, you need to know who you are before you start to command anything, right? And even if we go to Leo, King of the Jungle, you need to know who you are before you are out there like roaring and doing all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to read the Emperor first. Yeah, and this is really, I think for Leo, this may be a little, I don't want to say it's going to be a challenge. I'll say it's an interesting task to be the Emperor and the Nine of Pentacles. Because again, as one of those more externally, I don't want to say driven or focused, involved, as an externally involved energy, there is a certain amount of exchange that you need the energy of Leo to get from your environment, right? It's like if you're all this sun, but there's no planet around you, then you're just the star in the sky. And we're not necessarily talking about Aquarius. But before you do all that, you need to know who you are. And you need to be solid in that and uncompromising in that. And if you can't find anyone to appreciate you for all of who you are or all of what you are, then it's not for you to not be all of those things to fit into that environment. It's for you to move on until you find it, and to not get stuck where you can't be all of this. Because again, like if you can't even maintain a spark, how are you going to be that raging fire? So the Emperor is the Romano-Celtic cult of Tyrannus. Power is the language of the gods, shown... Hold up, I'm switching to the 275s, because these I can use in not as much light, and the sun is already shifting. Oh, there we go. Power is the language of the gods, shown to man in the lightning and thunder, the sun and the rain. This world is the sign of their dominion, the living soul of their active creation and continued preservation. He that rules it with firm hand and strong will stands at the feet of the highest gods and makes a vow of protection to them, not of himself, but of all others. This is the mystery of the king, the God on an earthen throne, that by serving he rules. If you wish to walk the mountainous roads of ambition and power, you must face me and know me. I am the thunderer, the turning heavens, the one who sees all, the sun warrior. Mine is to destroy in the name of that which I serve, to protect and to preserve. The earth that I rule shall not be diminished for my rulership, but increased. I am the great eagle of the heights and the ram of the earth. My arms are the strength of my people, and my throne only the authority they give me. To learn my mysteries, you must take up the spear and shield of the warrior and make your war, for it is in your war cry that you will discover the seat of your power, the drive of your ambition, and the true understanding of what you are. I am the master of war, and my song is the clash of blades upon shield. To those I rule, I would give my blood as sacrifice to make the world anew again. Ugh, I don't know why all these little random hair shots fall on my tongue. Sorry. There we go. Oh, that's interesting. And I like the part where it said that my song is the clash of blades upon shield. And blade upon shield, to me, isn't like blade upon flesh or blade upon bone, right? Blade upon shield it implies an actual fight or an actual war, right? Like, this isn't something easily accomplished. This isn't you going after who's most vulnerable or whatever. You can't establish a kingdom. I mean, you can, but you can't establish one of greatness or of power by taking advantage of those that you view as weaker than you or forcing your will upon others. That's a very maligned, okay, well, I don't want to be judgmental. Because it's not that it's necessary misaligned Leo energy, but it's just like, it's like you could be the king of the jungle by, like, I don't want to say picking on things that are weaker than you, but like overpowering their will with yours, or a weak-willed individual. But then that jungle might just be like some zoo somewhere, right? It ain't like you out in the Serengeti. Are lions in the Serengeti? What is the Serengeti? Is the Serengeti a desert? I don't know. It's not like you're out in the wild, right? And I think, again, that can be another challenge. Because if your thing is to stand at the top, then I don't know. It's just like, it's this energy of, it's not what you rule, but the way in which you rule. And sometimes we can focus more on like being at the top, being that, oh, I'm a Leo, I'm the king of the jungle, I'm this, I'm that. But there's also like a lot of heart in Leo. There's a lot of fight, and there's a lot of courage. It's like, if you take the challenges, it's like I can see both Leo and Aquarius as being like these. I feel like, because it's like Leo starts on the inside. It's like Leo is, if we're casting a high school coming of age typical teen movie, Leo would be the popular person, Aquarius would be the outcast. And but like, it's like who Leo truly is isn't the person that they have to be popular, right? And it turns out that Leo actually has a lot in common with Aquarius. And Leo and Aquarius are actually very similar. But Leo doesn't think that it can be all of that, but still be the top of the cheerleaders or the football team or whatever. And so Leo makes that sacrifice. Leo hides those things to be who everyone wants them to be. And then eventually, in the movie, it reaches that point where the charade causes more damage than what the popularity can give them. And so what Leo energy needs to learn right now is to stand in the truth and authenticity of itself, because that is going to be what pulls in and what aligns and what gravitates all of those things that are truly supposed to be there for you. The Nine of Pentacles. One of the sweetest things in life is to luxuriate. Oh, that's a word. Is to luxuriate in what you have earned, to surround yourself in the joys of your success, to taste the fruits of your labors. Even sweeter is the knowledge that your wealth is born from independent endeavors, owing nothing to others, kindled and sustained by your will alone. This is my road, the road of individual success, of the one who works on their own terms, of the generation of one's own wealth. My name is independence and self-reliance, and my rituals are the enjoyment of that which brings delight to the days and joy to the nights. Bejewel yourself in your glorious works, array yourself in your achievements, rely not on others for your stability and wealth, but trust that your steps along this road are holy and perfect. Understand the source of your wisdom and the foundation of your resources. Seek not stasis, but growth. Know your greatest riches and their worth. Yet remember that these are not the source of your self-worth, for this lies in your own courage and dedication. Oh, I love that. I feel like that perfectly wraps it up. I ain't gonna spend too long on any of these. But that's what I got for you, Leo. And again, it really is balancing out like who you think you have to be to get all of what you want, and you being the truth of what you are and who you are. And there's also, I think, again, it takes me back. I don't know how many times the retrograde story for Leo is going to come to mind, but maybe it's just that metaphor of the solar system. Not every planet can be as close to Mercury as Mercury is to the sun, right? If Earth was as close as Mercury is to the sun, then there would be no life on Earth. It would be too hot for anything to really grow. Everything would be incinerated and burn it. And so too, like, is that are those other distances important? And it's like there are things. I mean, it's a personal question. It's personal preference, Leo. I guess, what are you willing to tolerate? What pain are you willing to endure? What burdens are you willing to shoulder to maintain whatever image it is that you're trying to build? That pain of like trying to give light and life to things that just aren't, that are desolate. Like if the soil, or if the earth, or if the ground on that planet is incapable of nurturing a seed, it doesn't matter how much light you give it, it's not going to grow. And also, it's like, how much are you willing to like not be yourself? It's very much that, like, would they like me if they knew that I was like this, or if they knew that I was like that? Now, I'm the type of person, I don't even want to have to think about that. So I just try to be as genuine and authentic as I can always when I'm present, right? Otherwise, I'm just like in the back, not really saying nothing, because I'm like, well, I'm going to be here for like 2 more hours and then I'm going to go home anyway. So I ain't too worried or concerned. I'm just here because I got to be. But anyway, this ain't about me. But yeah, that's for you. I hope you have a good whatever, whenever, and I hope that um, you are doing what you can to align with and to act in alignment with getting where it is that you want to be. Okay, so next is going to be Taurus with the King of Pentacles. Oh, wait. I thought it was going to be Scorpio for some reason. I thought it was going to be the King of Cups, but it was the King of Pentacles. Here's Taurus. And my battery is charged. Yes. I just took my phone off the leash, so I might be looking for it again here pretty soon. Let's see. I'll say 3555. 35:55. All right, Taurus. It's y'all's time to shine. I don't know if this is early. There's my time. Okay. It's so tiny. Tiny. The major you have, Taurus, is the Hanged Man. This is interesting. All right, Taurus, what we got going on? And then the minor you have is the Seven of Swords. Ooh. I'm actually going to take this too for you, Taurus. Seven of Swords crossed by the Two of Swords. Okay, that altogether is a Nine of Swords, which clarifies a little further that Hangman. The reason why I picked this card up is I'm trying to decide if this is an eclipse or if this is like a new moon in the sky. Right. Because the light around it looks like the corona of the sun. That's why I picked it up. And then the Two of Swords, I mean, y'all probably saw it when it went over to the side, so I picked this up too. And it's funny because I'm trying to decide if this is an eclipse or if it's a new moon. And then here we have the Two of Swords contemplating sitting at a chessboard. Something, though, tells me that this contemplation is not really serving with that Hangman. And it's this energy of like sometimes it's not about making the perfect move, it's about making the next best move. It's about taking the information that you have and moving forward with it. Because as you go, you'll discover more. You'll find out more. And we don't have to know everything before we do anything. Now, the Taurus in me, and it's funny because like 2 days ago I just posted, I don't like wasting energy, time, or effort. Like, I like to chill. So if I'm not chilling, I want there to be some kind of payout for my time. Because otherwise, I'm like, wow, I could have just stayed at home and I would have had a better time. I could have just ate what I had in the refrigerator and saved some money. Like, I didn't come and spend this money for subpar food. French fries have been real tragic all over town lately. Let me tell you. Besides Penn Station, at Penn Station, they always good. But I go to McDonald's. We went to Wendy's, Arby's. Now the curly fries at Arby's are also good. So take Arby's off the list. Hardee's. I'm like, man, these fries are tragic. Popeyes. And got some French fries. Something told me to just get the red beans and rice, but I forgot, and I just had French fries out of instinct, and they were not great. They were actually terrible. I gave one to my brother. He said, I'm not even going to finish eating this, and he spat it out. But sometimes you just got to go. I think there is something sacred about pause. I think there is something about listening, waiting and listening. But there also comes a time to act. And we'll see where this takes us. I mean, as it resonates for you, so you'll know, I guess, if you're in the like an analysis paralysis type of energy where you're analyzing it so intently and intensely that you don't actually make a move, or whether you're listening to get that next move. Now, the hangman is the sun dance of the North American Plains nations. In every soul there is a storm, bringing clouds and rain. Night comes like a bride to her lover and surrounds the spirit in suffering. Give in, seeker. Become the bridegroom of your agony and let the rain purify you. This is the mystery of the ascetic, or ascetic, who through withdrawal from the sacred comes closer to it. These are the roads of the sacrifice that creates the world, the first offering to the gods of blood spilled on the earth. In your pain, you must know that you too are a sacrifice. Your power, your energy, your self might recreate that primeval act and rebuild the universe around you. Is that how you pronounce that word? Or is it like primeval? I always say primeval. Hey Siri, how do you pronounce Primeval?
Here's what I found from yourdictionary.com. The definition of primeval is a person or thing from the earliest times.
Yeah, it is primeval. A person or thing from the earliest times. Like archetypal, primordial. Maybe not primordial, because primordial exists before the whole ordeal. Primeval is that like Adam and Eve original sin, I guess. The very first humans. To recreate that primeval act and rebuild the universe around you. Follow my dance, and I shall show to you the ways of suffering, for I am the hanged one and the holy one, the scapegoat and the tortured. It is my cries of pain that are the four winds and the sound of the storm, my tears that flow as streams in rain, replenishing the world, my blood that falls to nourish and revitalize all the creatures of the earth. Let your power be given up to that which calls to you. In becoming small, you become great. After your agony, you will know only joy and the ecstasy of divine light. Yet remember, mystic, that you can only give as an offering that which is your own, yourself. Ooh. So that takes a completely different route. Because so now we're basically, not basically, but now it's echoing the plight of the Native American people here in America specifically. And how, you know, the pilgrims come over on the Mayflower or whatever, they all starving because don't nobody know how to plant, or don't nobody know no agriculture. So I don't know if they got over here and they thought that we had like bacon trees and muffin bushes and bread plants, or because it's like, or maybe the stuff didn't grow. But I don't know. I don't know what the difference in climate between the eastern United States is, northeastern USA, and like what England or around Europe, northern Europe somewhere is. But shouldn't they have been able to plant something or something? Or something? But, you know, the natives helped them out, got them through, you know, that first winter. You know, we celebrate Thanksgiving, and then the Europeans killed them and took the land, and continued to take, moved them. You're like, oh, we'll give you this, and then took that Trail of Tears. It's just like, so it's this energy of like Taurian kindness being taken for weakness, or being taken advantage of, not being appreciated, of pouring into things that are pouring into vessels that are incapable of holding whatever it is that you're pouring into it, because it's insatiable. It's not satisfied. It's going to continue to uproot and continue to move you, and you will continue to sacrifice, or you continue to sacrifice. And it's not that you didn't fight back, but unfortunately, I guess it would seem that fate would see you to be moved. And with the Seven of Swords and the Two of Swords, this just took a whole different way. Because now it feels like Taurus is gonna go cold because of all of what happened in the past. Out of not wanting to repeat that, like, I'm not going to give to this in order to end up in pain and suffering and misery again. I'm like, I'm not doing it again. Like, no, no. I know who you are now. You already told me, like, you told me once, twice, three times, five times that I could come over here and that you would leave me alone. But apparently that ain't enough. And now we still ain't doing the Native Americans right. And it's like 2020, well, I'll say 2020, because 2021 just started. Although, there's been 22, 23 now days of 2021, so we could have done, I don't know. I don't know if we treating them better this year or not. But I know the pandemic hit them hard and we did like nothing to help them. And it's so interesting. Speaking of like primeval, the people who are the resources that were so fundamental in us having what it is that we claim ownership of now, that we take for granted now, that we just completely disregard. And that seems to be the way a lot of people handle their natives. Or maybe it's a European thing. I don't know. Because in America, that's how we treat the Native Americans. Canada doesn't treat their indigenous people much better. In Australia, it ain't much better there either. So, and then Africa is just, was it Nelson Mandela who was, when they was talking about apartheid in South Africa? And it's like, y'all come to, I mean, that's everywhere though, right? America, Canada, Australia, wherever the Europeans go, they just, or went, wherever they went, but life continues, right? The world keeps turning and things continue to happen. And so I guess it's that question of what happens to those who are making these sacrifices that they don't even ask to make. When a sacrifice is like taken and forced instead of given. And maybe that's how Taurus is feeling. And Taurus is in this space of like, I feel like, or the question here, and it is a Nine of Swords, 2 + 7, of like, I don't want to necessarily be cold or not in that Taurian energy of nurturing and loving and very Venusian and earthly Venusian, not air Venusian. Not right, not Libra, but Taurus. But it's never appreciated and I always end up worse off. But not being that nurturing, kind, caring, loving, supportive energy, I feel, is not a solution. Because then that's you not being the truth of who you are. Personally, from real life, I would say it's all about self love, self worth. Because then, from those places of self, you can more easily see when the time for you to stop giving to a situation is. Goodness, this. Ooh. Ooh. Maybe I shouldn't have slept with both my windows and both of my fans out last night. I needed some fresh air though. I'm about to take this off because I'm starting to get warm. I like being cold. The sword is sharp and deadly. This is the Two of Swords, I guess I'm reading first. The sword is sharp and deadly. It has the power to create or destroy worlds. Yet it is not only a point. Its two edges define it and draw it from the abstract to manifest so that you might feel its weight. Its balance dictates the ease with which you wield it, for balance in all things is a blessing. The road of the sword is one of careful thought and strategy, of consideration and logical extension. For this, the mind must always be ready. You must not fear the choice that unfolds before you, nor falter at pronouncing it, yet rush not into your words. In that moment before you have declared your word, entire worlds can be created or destroyed. In that moment, the universe unfolds before you with the lines of cause and effect presented to your inner eye. Learn to read this map with care and attention, and you will soon walk the thresholds of balance and duality with joy, welcoming each new moment of before speaking. Man was not made to know the future, but he might glimpse the myriad of possible worlds and futures awaiting manifestation at the moment he steps from his high seat of vision and makes his first move. That is crossing. Not every path you walk runs before you straight and narrow. Hey, okay. So you do all that thought, you speak that word, you think it's gonna go one way, but it may go a complete other way. Not every path you walk runs before you straight and narrow. Many a path is winding, taking you on circuitous routes. Conventional wisdom eschews this path, for it breeds cunning minds and tongues of honey. Yet few see that it is shaped this way to find a smoother path around obstacles. I am the snake that slithers between the gaps in the winding road of deception. I am the shifter of shape and the double speaker. My words are truth and lies in the same moment. I am the whispers behind closed doors and the secret handshakes, the lies told and the palms greased. I am called thief and deceiver, yet I am created by circumstance. I am the one born from weakness and disadvantage, and I have learned my way through failure in the face of the superior, those who are lauded as paragons, as virtuous as good. Yet these are the same that would rush headlong and proud into danger, taking risks and caring not for their consequences. I say this one thing plainly to you. The flight of the arrow is often off course. What is this energy, Taurus? What is this? I talked about arrows recently, and that goes back to it's about making that first step. It's not about, like, sometimes you're not going to have all the information or it's not going to go exactly according to plan. Because when it came to that arrow, it's like, we knock, ready, and release the arrows. Everything that we can do to guide that arrow, we have to do before we release it. After we release it, that's when spirit and the winds can come in and guide it to its destination. And just like not releasing the arrow won't hit the target, releasing multiple arrows and not adjusting for the wind and other factors is not going to get the target hit either. Circumstances are all over this. And I think it's Taurus's challenge to remain themselves. Fixed earth. That means you are you regardless of the situation and regardless of the circumstances. Things are going to work out not as expected. You may treat some with kindness and meet misfortune or unfortunate circumstance as a result. You may ignore or not extend that compassion where you feel to extend it and regret it just for the sake and purpose of you not being you in that moment. It's also like I had a dream. I'm a Taurus moon and rising, so I got a little bit of a foothold in Taurus. I got a little bit of a foothold in like all energies besides Virgo. A lesser foothold in Sag and Leo. Anyway, I had a dream night before last about somebody that I never really got to know. It was somebody I was never interested in knowing, and I was talking to one of our mutual friends, and she was talking about like all of the things that he can do and talking about the things that he had like overcome in his struggles and stuff, and I'm listening to her intrigued because I didn't know that this person was all of these things, but also sitting there in the back of my mind like knowing that this is also a person that I decided to not get to know. We were in the same. I think I talked about this on my other channel. Maybe I talked about it on this one. I don't know. But we were in the same freshman orientation group. Freshman year, sophomore year, we worked the same job at the front desk of the dorm that we both lived in. I think he was still there. Junior year, or partway through sophomore year, or was that no? Yeah, I think that was all of sophomore year. I don't know. Freshman year, we were in the same freshman orientation. Sophomore year, we worked the same job. Junior year, he became a supervisor at that job, a co-supervisor, him and the girl from the dream that I was talking to. And then in my senior year, or my first senior year, S1, he became my RA. And I was like, he went from like, it's like he was getting closer and closer to me in life, but once he got so close, then he started to like take these positions of authority above me. Like first he was my boss at work, then he was my RA on the floor that I live on. And then I left for a semester and I was talking to another one of our mutual friends. And he was like, yeah, like he said that it sucks that you're not here. And I was surprised because I thought we had a mutual disinterest in each other. Turns out maybe that disinterest was all on my side. But I'm also the type of person where like to me a relationship is a two-way street, right? And it can't be for one person to be doing all of anything. And so in my mind it's typically been the case that like if I'm done with a relationship, there's no more relationship. Like if I don't want it anymore, it's over. Right? It's like when you only get electricity because something is plugged up. If it's unplugged on my side, it's dead. And so I just like move on with my life. And I also accept the same from others. Like if someone else isn't interested in maintaining a relationship, it's over and I move on with my life. But I had that dream a few days ago. And I was mostly like not confused, but intrigued, I guess. And what am I saying all of that to say? That was emphasizing the point of sometimes we don't, it's like sometimes we act uncharacteristic in certain situations because of whatever superficial reasons that we may have. Right? And sometimes we miss out on things that were for us because we saw the entryway or we saw the first 10 feet of that path, assuming it would lead us way off course. But maybe it starts off course, but eventually it gets back to where it is that we want to go. Give me one moment, y'all. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Hello. Okay, there it is. I'm back. So yeah, this is interesting. And this, I think this is also about balance. Honestly, Taurus, it feels like it's about accepting the fact that not everything is going to play out or pay out or pan out the way that you want or expect it to, but it's not for you to remove, it's not for you to be any less of who you are. Because, like I was saying about Leo, the sun can provide all of the light that it wants or that it can. But if the ground isn't capable of holding and sustaining and nurturing life, then the seed will still die. And so it's like Leo was coming out with the challenges of the light, Taurus is coming out with the challenges of the earth. I did not expect challenges today. I had no expectations, but still. And that, for me, when I did my first spread, when I got into tarot, October, December, maybe 2018. I got the wild unknown animals and the tarot. The animals were a lot more friendly to me, so I just did animals for a while. I was intimidated by the tarot, honestly. And I was like, okay, so to get over this, I'm going to do the biggest spread in the book. So I did a 10 card Celtic Cross. And the star card came out in one of the positions. I think it was position 6 as you. And I was reading it, and it was all about healing and things like that. And in me, it triggered like all of that. Like, I'm the type of person that can do so much for other people, but it seems that like most of the time I get so little in return, or it seemed like that in the past. Now, I also recognize now that I need things in a way that a lot of people don't necessarily need things. And like everyone is different, right? And the things that like upset me and the things that get to me aren't the things that typically get to a lot of people. Like one of my Libran friend, who I'm pretty sure I mentioned, my only friend in me, like early in our relationship, he would be like, I don't know why you're so upset. Like this is something so like trivial. And I'm like, to you it might be, but like to me this is huge. And you know I don't get upset about a lot of stuff. Like a lot of stuff I'll let slide. Now, for me, I'm a very principled person. I can be. I'm not perfect. No one is. But I'm a very principled person. And for me, sometimes it's like, it's not about how big or how small or how little or inconsequential this thing is. It's about the principle, and you violated the principle. I don't care if it's a penny. I don't care if it was free. You still violated this principle. And if I can't trust you with free, how am I supposed to trust you with $1, $2, $50, $200, 500, million, $467,362.75? If I can't trust you with free, I ain't gonna give you none of that. So I'm not interested anymore, and I wash my hands of this, and I'm moving on with my life. But there is an element of balance here. That's why we got all this air over here, I guess. So maybe take it from a Libra, take it from some Pisces, a good Libra, a good Pisces. Because we ain't looking for the shadow of Libra or the shadow of Pisces. Unless you can analyze the shadow of Libra and Pisces and see how you can, from your outside perspective, resolve that shadow of Libra and Piscean energy to get you out of the space that you're in. And then it becomes like this type of energy. Like you have something over here. Where are my hands at? You got something over here and something over here, right? And then it's like a string that connects them. You can go in the middle and pull it up, and then it'll lift both things up. Wow. But it's not for you to not be who you are. It's for you to learn to give to yourself a lot of the things that you're asking for in return from others. Because others, there are certain things that they can't give you. love from others cannot fill the vessel that only our own self-love can fill. It can't. And when you start to feel that self-love, then it's like it aligns the things outside of you, where you're no longer looking for the things that people can't give you to give you. You're no longer looking for them to give those things to you. And so you're better able to recognize and accept, I guess, the love that other people do give or can give. And so it's almost like it leads to fulfillment in ways or in situations that you would have been completely unfulfilled in the past. Because now that you've fulfilled those own self needs, you're not looking for anyone else to do it. But also, maybe it is to be a little wiser. I mean, the hangman says that sacrifice nurtures all, and all you have to give is yourself. I still don't know if this is an eclipse or a new moon, and I guess, long story short, it doesn't matter. This Seven of Swords is interesting, though, because in a lot of Seven of Swords cards, the person will be holding 5 swords. But in this one, the person's only holding 3. And so, yeah, it's the pain that you hold on to, or the lack of reciprocity or whatever in the past that you hold on to, that's keeping you in this energy where that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. And I feel like that's a message for anybody, honestly. All of these can be a message for anybody. And it's these 4 of Swords. The 4 of Swords still here. For me, it feels like an 8 of Swords energy. Around him, like you see the 4 of Swords, and like that other sword is like, it's not really blocking his path forward, but it feels like this 3 of Swords, 8 of Swords feeling. But it's the 7. So this is an energy, it's like self-deception through the lack of self-worth, love, acknowledgement, acceptance, whatever. Looking for things from those who cannot give it. We can only give what we're capable of giving. And then also too, like, I feel like it'll put you in a position to not ask things of people, or to better see, I guess, what people have to offer you and what people don't have to offer you. And if people can only offer, if people can only attempt or try to offer you the things that you can now give yourself, that's a situation that you don't necessarily need to entertain. But again, many paths are winding. So just don't go cold, Taurus. Just don't get cold, okay? Because if the earth get cold, we all gonna starve. Because can't none grow. And then it don't matter if you know agriculture or not. So next is, I hope you have a good whatever whenever you see this, Taurus. And why did I almost want to say, if you could leave me a like? I've never said that. Goodness. I hope you have a good whatever whenever. And now my brain is just like blank. I think I've been watching too many YouTube videos. I hope you find the strength to continue being the light of who you are without allowing previous experience to get you to dim it. Because the bottom of the hangman to me also had a message of like, your time is going to come. You are going to receive what you've been putting out. And it may be cumulative. You may be receiving years of goodness that you've put out all at once. So it's definitely a cornucopia bursting at the seams type of energy. But when you step out of alignment with that, it's like you forfeit that. So continue to be your highest light and learn to love and give to yourself the things that are only for you to give to you. Next is the all gifted. Okay. So here's the all signs coming after Leo and Taurus. And I guess that's interesting because, I mean, if Leo is the all light and Taurus is the all earth, then there's all the in between them, right? 1:10:47. It's already been an hour and 10 minutes. How? I did not just spend like half an hour on Taurus. Did I just spend like half an hour on Taurus? That's never happened before. This is gonna be a long one, y'all, but I got time. I might have to grab a little water, but if I drink water, then I'm gonna have to pee. Being a human is so complicated. It's so complex. I can like barely even. All signs. This is for everyone. I was just feeling like, that was a little general, but let's see what your major is. Ooh, we're sitting at the Ace of Wands, which is the realm of fire overall. It's like primordial fire. And what's our minor? It's the Two of Pentacles. This is a clash of visions. It's not what separates the wheat from the chaff, but it's like it's time to decide what world, what reality, what we're going to align to. Or maybe that it's already been decided, but you didn't hear that from me. I ain't say that. If anybody asks you, you ain't hear it here. But you'll start to see it play out. Anyway, let's get into this Ace of Wands. Oh, stimulates. I was like, did I say stimulus? All right. Sophia. That's the name I keep seeing lately. Sophia. Everything Sophia. Ophelia, so bad for yourself. Move away from the water. So. Ooh. This is an initiation of ambition, energy, drive, creative pursuits. I'm just playing. You were born from the desire of the universe to be not one, but many. I'm going to read that again. You were born from the desire of the universe to be not one, but many. We were born from the desire of the universe to be many, not one. So I think with this Ace of Wands and this Two of Pentacles, I think we need to reevaluate how we view oneness. Personally. But, we'll get there eventually. You were born from the desire of the universe to be not one but many. To give you form, you were raised from the red earth, but to give you spirit, you were pulled from the stars. Your becoming is inspiration in its truest sense. At the moment you took your first gasp of air, you inspired, sucking deep of life. This first inspiration taught you to want, yearn, and desire. You know unconsciously that you need to feed the fire within as much as you need the air to breathe and the ground beneath your feet. I am the vigor that pulses through you, the implacable and tenacious desire to live and thrive, demanding and desirous of everything the world has to offer. I am your need to consume and to rise towards the heavens. Your birthright is not beneath you or passed down in legacy. It is above you, inside you, and all around you. You are not a creature of clay, but one ensouled and enshrined, and your place of origin and destination is beyond all that you can see. You will deviate from this knowledge as you tread the years, but a moment will come that reminds you. This is true inspiration. You will forget that you are starborn, and the darkness around you may overwhelm you, but the sun does not die at midnight, and you must remember that you have the magic of all creation within you. You are a god in human form, enthroned in your place upon the world. I am the burning flame within you, and the fuel that feeds it so you may thrive. I am the energy you expend and create, and the driving force behind all things. You seek divine inspiration, but to be inspired is not to be gently coaxed into attaining of desire. It is to be set on fire. Oof. Oof. Okay. And then let's go to the Two of Pentacles. The Two of Pentacles is the Nocturne in the SKT. It's the bridging of two worlds before. It's like y'all know how like cells multiply? How you get one like a mother cell and then like two daughter cells, how one cell becomes two different cells. It's like that energy. And we're in one of those phases. Is it the telophase? I don't remember mitosis. Anaphase, metaphase, prophase, telophase. We're in the phase before it splits off completely into two different cells. So everything's already been copied, right? We've already replicated the genome. So we already got two sets of DNA. The spindles are starting to shorten. It's pulling it back. As it's pulling it back, the cellular envelope is pinching. It's pinching, and then it splits off into two cells. We were at that in-between point. And we had this big old event happening that polarized a lot of people in a certain direction. And it's interesting. I mean, it's not interesting because, when it goes on longer than you think it'll go on, then of course, you start to get weary or whatever. But at the very beginning, it was like everybody was having all these Zoom calls and talking to people, and it seemed like we were more connected to the people in our lives than we ever were before. Specifically to the people that it's not as easy to get in contact with. And in this day and age, it's just, or like even later in the pandemic, it was just interesting to hear people talk about how separate we were from everybody and how everything was like we were all like isolated and alone. But at the very beginning, we were closer than we've ever been. And it's like, what happened to all of that? So if you're separate and isolated and alone, that's not for lack of not being able to revel in communion with others. Because the beginning of this proved that. And now a lot more people have the technology and the know-how to be doing all that stuff. Now, I personally wasn't on Zoom calls and stuff like that, but I know a lot of people were. And then it seemed like a lot of people, not so much after like a few months had passed or whatever. And with social media, it's like and with video chatting, all of these things, it's like if we're not connected, it's not because we don't have the capability to. And I know that for a lot of people, it's different when it's virtual versus when it's online. But that connection is still that connection. And if it were important for us to, I don't know, then we got into all of our own personal stuff. So let's just say that we were dealing with that instead of saying like, oh, we all connected and isolated and separate in our own little boxes or whatever. Because, I mean, we've already proved that connection isn't the issue. If we wanted to be connected, we'd be connected. We have the technology. We can make it faster or better or whatever. Oh, who is this beauty? The universe changes on a grand scale as befitting its cosmic design. Two of Pentacles. Change is its mother, flux its father. You are its child. As a product of the ebb and flow of the tidal heavens, it is your charge to enact change upon the earth and to know the careful dance of balance in order to maintain your center. Though you may be buffeted, is that how you pronounce that word? I think it's buffeted. I know it ain't, I'm pretty sure it's not buffeted, right? What is English? We got all these words that come from all these different languages, and a lot of them are not pronounced the same. I just want to make sure. The strike repeatedly and violently batter. Whenever I hear buffeted, I think, hell. Oh, it is buffet? Is it buffet?
Buffet.
Oh, it is buffet. Okay.
Buffet.
Y'all hear that? Siri said it too.
Buffet.
Is it buffet or buffet? That's how you spell buffet, right? Hey Siri, how do you spell buffet?
Buffet. B-U-F-F-E-T.
Okay. Y'all see this? Siri got like the same entry for the verb buffet and buffet. It's under the same spelling, but they give different pronunciations. Okay. So buffet and buffet, those are homonyms, right? Spelled the same, pronounced differently. Anyway, I'm gonna read back at the top. The universe changes on a grand scale as befitting its cosmic design. Change its mother, flux its father. You are its child. As a product of the ebb and flow of the tidal heavens, it is your charge to enact change upon the earth and to know the careful dance of balance in order to maintain your center. Though you may be buffeted by life's tempestuous waves, know that beneath your feet is the very foundation of the world. I teach you the mystery of managing change in the realm of earth, the gift by which you may make the best of this abode of beauty and ugliness. I speak to you in polarities and opposites, in duality and complement, for in the journey between each you come to know the balance of the scales. Yet listen well. Balance is not equality. Rather, it is found in the gentle shifting of weight from one side to the other, continually, and it is in the unevenness of balance that the world is recreated. I like that. Balance is not equality. And I think honestly it's like the way that we look at grand concepts such as like oneness and even the nature of balance itself. We're only human, but I feel like we have a very human understanding of those things. And I think sometimes it can be our undoing. I think sometimes we can use those to like scapegoat or to get out of the things that we actually can do or the things that we need to do. And it takes me back to the Seven of Swords for Taurus for some reason. And that like I am the truth and a lie at the same time. It's like the world is and you are at the same time. So while oneness is true that like we are all one, but we're a one that exists as many. You are, the world is. And you can't reject one for the other. You can't turn away from one and take in all of the other, right? What you refuse to accept and what you reject and what you suppress in the outside world, you do to yourself. And I just made a comment on Russ's channel on his latest video about the Aquarius stellium, I think. And it was like, how are we as creatives or as little creators supposed to create these worlds when we can't even face all that exists within us? So it's like, what are you creating? And who's to say that the bad in this world isn't of your own creation, because you can't face the bad within yourself? But we look at the world as if it is something so illusory. This matrix, this hologram programmed reality, as if it isn't of our own making. And if it is a matrix, hologram, computer, video game, whatever, it's one of our design. And so, like, blaming the game isn't going to solve anything. I think there was something in the Ace of Wands that spoke to me. I'll go back to it real quick. This is becoming our truest selves. This is aligning with the light which exists within us. But with light comes darkness. And the Two of Pentacles is about accepting the dualistic nature of reality, but learning balance, right? And so, as I take that, it's like good and bad will always exist, light and dark will always exist, but we can ease the tension of that polarity, meaning it doesn't always have to be so extreme, right? And it's the bad times that give us an appreciation for the good times, but it's also the good times that give us an appreciation for the better times, and the better times that give us an appreciation for the best times. Everything is relative, and relativity doesn't go away. And so, while at the same time, it's like we can't necessarily get rid of all of the bad or whatever, like there's always going to be misfortune. I don't think it's for us to continuously recreate the levels of it that we see, or to even accept the fact that things have to be this bad always, especially when we are handling it and when we're facing it, when we rise to the challenge that they present us, and when we actually deal with them, instead of creating these fictional realities inside of the reality in which we live that paints all of those things as like untrue or not your problem. Because the universe is a living, breathing thing. And while from our own limited perspective, we do only experience the tiniest fraction of it, we can't magnify an even tinier fraction of that to encompass the whole thing. Basically, long story short, it requires us to do some things to create the world that we want to live in, rather than just trying to imagine it hard enough that it becomes reality. Because we imagined pretty hard, we manifested pretty hard the world that we want. And you know what the world's response was? The world's response was to show us everything that keeps us from getting that. Everything that keeps you from being who it is that you want to be, or doing what it is that you want to do, the world will show you, to give you the opportunity to face it, handle it, address it, and then achieve what it is that you wish to achieve, rather than to ignore it, run away from it, or do whatever else, to push it off to the side. Like, this is the response. These are the things that we need to do to get where we want to be. And are there deeper motivations? Sure. But can we still take this as an opportunity for something that we need to handle and address to actually get to the world that we want to get to? Yes, because even if it wasn't some alternative, ulterior motive or whatever, it would still be needed, like it would still need addressing. But it's like we spin it into this narrative where it's something that now we don't even like need to focus on or work on or whatever. And so it's like, well, there goes your opportunity to actually create what it is that you want. You just send it back. For all that we do as a collective of humans called humanity, there's a lot of stuff that we don't. And we innovate so hard, but it's like the things that actually need doing to get us to the space of greater innovation, or to get us to the space where we can actually live in and enjoy the things that we create, we don't do what actually needs to be done. I think the Ace of Wands and Two of Pentacles, it's a call to actually start to do that. The all gifted, like we've already been given everything we need. We're refusing to use certain tools. We're refusing to eliminate certain blockages or address certain challenges or handle certain issues. And it's just like spirit can't do it for us. We have to choose to do it. All spirit can do is provide us the opportunity. So, how is spirit providing you an opportunity to do what it is that you want to do, or to get where it is that you want to be in your life? And how are you handling the challenges that are surfacing to be addressed for you to get where you want to be? That's a you question. Moving on. So for all signs, I hope you're having a good whatever whenever. And for those who act in alignment with and believe in miracles, miraculous things are constantly happening. Maybe not where you can observe and see them, but eventually in the chain of cause and effect, you'll hit an effect, caused by your belief in alignment. But I guess if immediacy is a thing for you, you may not get it quick enough. So then you go and you do everything counter to what it is that you're trying to manifest. Or if hard work is something that you don't want to do, or actually facing things that are difficult and challenging isn't something that you're up for, then you might miss it. Next is Pisces. Prince of Cups. Ooh, we got an archer on this card. We got some butterflies. We got a lot of butterflies. We got more butterflies. We got some roses. This... I know Apollo is an archer, but he doesn't have wings. And I don't think Hermes is an archer. And I know this ain't Icarus. We'll see. I'll see. I'm curious who this Page of Cups is. Pisces. The Prince of Cups. This Knight of Cups. Sorry, I misspoke. Timestamps are not going to be in the order in which they appeared, but that's fine. This is 1:33:00. All right, Pisces starting at 1:33. Hey, ooh, there goes the calendar today. Just knocked over passion fruit. Passion fruit for Pisces. It's Passiflora incarnata. And for me, that's finding passion in the fruit, or finding passion in the flower that is the divine lotus of our current incarnation. Passiflora incarnata, right? Oh gosh, I knocked it over again. Maybe I should just leave it. No. There we go. All right. I'm curious who this Prince of Cups is, though. Oh, look, I've opened right to him. Let's go. This is Eros. Eros, duh. Knight of Cups, Knight in Shining Armor, Prince Charming, romantic, Greek god with wings and arrows. Well, Eros, yeah, Cupid is his Roman name. Eros is the Greek name. Eros, god of new love, romance, and chaos. Well, let's throw a little bit of chaos in there for Pisces, because, 12th house energy, Neptunian energy. Jupiter with that Neptune, girl. That's a whole lot of jazz. What is happening? The major for Pisces, though, is the sun. I'm liking that. Who's to say that fantasy can't be reality, Pisces? Especially when you do the work. When you handle and address those challenges that keep the world that you wish to experience from being your experience, when you get those out of the way, that becomes more of your experience. And your major is the 9 of Swords. It's interesting that both Taurus and Pisces got a 9 of Swords energy. Taurus had the 2 and the 7 of Swords. For Pisces, though, or for Piscean energy, it feels like it's even closer. And that makes sense. For Pisces being the most, or the energy closest connected or closest to the veil. And the 9 of Swords for me is what happens when we face the things that we couldn't face at the 8 of Swords. A lot of times the 8 of Swords is blindfolded, and it can be the things that it's like we're making mountains out of molehills. It's not that big of a deal. Like we don't see that we're actually free. It's a trick of the mind. But the 8 of Swords can also be when we can't see the things that limit us, when we are completely blind to them. And so we think that we're free and we think that we're making choices and decisions, but in reality, we're still trauma bonded to whatever keeps us running the same small circles, living in the same boxes, running the same hamster races, or running on the same hamster wheel, running in the same rat races. And the 9 of Swords is that, like, being able to see it. And it's like, oh, but can I actually do something about this? At the 10 of Swords, you decide to. And you put it to bed. And then you are freed from it. And it's almost like this body switch thing, where it's like the situation is putting these swords in your back. But if you handle the 9 and complete the 10, you get to switch. So now the swords are in the back of whatever the situation was that kept you bound, and you're now free. And whenever this thing tries to come back, you can recognize it from all of the sword holes in it. It's like, oh, you managed to pull the swords out. But with that wound pattern, with that scar pattern, I know that you're that thing that I already put to bed. Now, sometimes it need a few more swords. Sometimes that can also be a trick of the mind. Because who's to say that that's the same thing? And if you take this new thing back to that old thing, you may discover that the old thing is still dead. So this new thing, it's not what you project it to be. The 9 of Swords is about handling the source of those projections. And then the Sun card is here. The Sun card is the final gateway to realization. But with the 9 of Swords, it's like something still needs to be done. Is everything going to be a challenge today? Maybe it is. Because I think for Piscean energy, Pisces is the dreamer. But Pisces, as you know, they are the artist and the poet and the creative, but they're not necessarily the doer, right? Like Aries would be the doer. Capricorn, maybe the doer. Pisces, it's the dreamer. And so a lot of times what stands between Pisces and their dreams? I wonder how many Piscean celebrities there are. Or people with like prominent Pisces placements. Like I know there's Rihanna. And I guess I only mention that because it's like, you know, you probably got a lot of Leos. Beyonce is a Virgo. Adele is a Taurus. And it's like you would think that Pisces, being the dreamer that they are, would like be more of the best, but there's a disconnect between the actual fulfillment of those things. And that's, I guess, where we get 12th house energy. Being prisms, being prisons, asylums, undoing, and fantasy. Now the Sun energy is here to make it a reality. The Nine of Swords is the need to face those challenges. So the sun is the Roman cult of Mithras, or Mithras. I've read this before, but I'll read it again. Open your eyes, mortal, and they will be blinded. Keep them closed, and you shall surely die. You cannot live without light, not light from the stars, from the moon, or even the sun, but pure and holy light, white hot and scourging. Fiery truth light from the realms beyond the sun. It is from here that all truth comes. It is here from which your soul is descended into birth, trapped in that rock of a world, a womb tomb, in which you will truly die without my salvation. I am the revelation of the universe in its glory. I am the earth shaker, bull tamer, equinox pusher. Where I step, I burn the life in my path, yet all grows beneath me. I reveal myself to you, and the sevenfold rays of light illuminate you, that I might bid you to take the first step of the ladder that will lead you to the truth beyond truth. I make open to you the doorway of the temple that you might descend into its starry cave and in the darkness see the mysteries illuminated. I destroy the force that holds your soul here, striking away the chains that bind you. I may burn you, you may turn your face from my light, but you will soon know that you are my soldier, and you will share a feast with your brothers of the sun in my name. Let all elements of earth, air, and rushing fire be obedient unto me. I am the mighty one who possesses immortal fire. I am the one who begets and destroys. Come forth and follow. For I am the moment of revelation, the mystery that is revealed at the end of all, and that which is found in the center of all. Soul is a fairly new movie, so I'm not going to be like, did y'all see that one scene? But there's a scene in Soul where someone sees something and they are shook. And this is kind of that energy. Because it's a lot. It's very much that, like, you can't handle the truth type of energy. And you may, Pisces, maybe one looking for something. And what has been seen cannot be unseen. Nine of Swords. I don't know if we're necessarily doing anything with it, though. Maybe that's a personal. That's on you. Are you doing anything, Pisces, with the whatever? The mind is a dark and terrible place. Far worse than the cages it builds are the creatures it releases. I'll read that again. The mind is a dark and terrible place. Far worse than the cages it builds are the creatures it releases, let to run wild and terrifying behind the eyes. Mine is the realm of the night terror and the midnight hag, the whispers in the dark accusing and taunting. My roads are many and fractured, some dragged slow into the mud, and some cut deep into stone. My name is Nightwalker and Fearmaker, and in my black mirror I reflect your doubts, anxieties, and fears looming larger and more hideous. Yet do not think that I reside out there, in the vague notion of blackness. I am in here, within, walking the fractured pathways of your mind, feeding on all that you fear. Fear feeds fear, and its chains bind tighter with every devouring. And though you feel alone, small and insignificant, know that you are not. Every human on earth has known me since the first spark of distinction grew in their mind between I and not I. It is these distinctions that I love. They build more walls, create more pathways and splinters upon which I can travel, and turn the sword of the questioning mind to attack itself. I am nightmare and doubt, phobia and fear, released to walk the night roads of your waking mind. The part I love, if you would call it that, my name, hold on, wait. Yeah, my name is Nightwalker and Fearmaker, and in my black mirror I reflect your doubts, anxieties, and fears looming larger and more hideous. So it's us. It's our own doubt, worry, insecurity, and fear being reflected back to us that keep us from seeing this, which is why this is such a sun potential. Because if you can face and conquer your own doubts, worries, insecurities, and fears, then what else is there to stop you from doing, being, and achieving all of the stuff that you dream? Pisces is definitely its own worst enemy. It's its harshest critic. It's its own harshest critic. Meh, 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 Maybe not. I take that one back. Possibly. For some Pisces, maybe. For some Pisces, yeah. I think Pisces is definitely its own biggest blockage, but I don't know if Pisces is its own harshest critic. And Pisces is its own biggest blockage because it sometimes doesn't do that which it dreams. Now, if you have other placements, then of course those add shadows on top of shadows. Those blend in different energies. So, like if you got, I don't know, some Capricorn maybe strong in you, then maybe you are your own harshest critic. Or, I don't know why I want to say Libra. But that is also, this is like pure Piscean energy. I think this is why the 12th house is the 12th house. Because when you've conquered everything outside of you, when you are facing the veil, the only shadow left is that within self. And all of that personified at the Nine of Swords, reflected back to you bigger and bigger. It reminds me of Karnak. When you get so close to the light, all other shadows are burned away. But the most prominent one is that that which is within yourself, reflected back to you and magnified even greater, fed by your fear. But if you can face it, then you can step more fully into that realm of light, then you can become more of that light. The shadow that we've incorporated, it's like our shadow is the vessel for our light. Because you can't have light without shadow. You can't be a bright light without having a dark shadow, a more pronounced shadow, maybe even a larger shadow. But going back to the all signs, hold up, wait. Oh, okay. I don't know why I thought I froze for a second. But, oh, because I can't see my hand right here. Sorry. Hold up, wait. No, it's, see, this, there we go. This is so awkward. All right. Going back to the all signs, it's like a brighter light means a darker shadow, but it's not a darker shadow in that, like, we're out there being the most evil, whatever. Like, I can be the evilest little demon or the most perfect, nice little angel that you'll ever meet. It's not about that. Because this is a shadow in proportion to the light. This isn't a shadow out there running amok, causing trouble, doing whatever. It's what you've integrated into self. And the darkest part of you is inside of you. Because your skin does a pretty good job of reflecting and refracting most of that sunlight. I just saw that in a video, actually. This dude, the Action Lab, he had a very, very powerful light flashlight, and he was like, I'm going to stick this in my mouth to see if you can see the light coming out of my eye sockets. Because the skin does such a good job of blocking out light. So the darkest part of you is inside of you. Always. And it's not, again, it's not like who you are out in the world being. It's not you when you're out there wilding out, doing things that you know you shouldn't be doing, wreaking havoc and mayhem and causing trouble. Like, no. Is that a part of it? Yeah, sure. But all of that is light. What you are doing in the outside world is light. So that's a dim light. That's not a shadow. That's just a really, really, really dim to non-existent light. That is a reflection of the internal shadow, I guess. there's just like, I don't know, I just think in a lot of ways we need to think a little bit more, I guess, about certain concepts when it comes to grand things like light, shadow, oneness, all kinds of stuff. And I think sometimes we look at certain things like that and we either forget the world around us or we incorporate too much the world around us. But honestly, this is like an evolution of chariot energy. This is like chariot energy into the golden chariot energy, which is like, unlocking the power of the Merkaba, I guess, and that unification of body, mind, and soul. Now, we can get our body and our mind to align in any kind of way, but to get that to align to the soul, that's where it's like when you hit it, it really lights up. It's like I don't have an extremely stable hand. Like my hand ain't shaking, but it's like sometimes it take me a few tries to get the key in the keyhole. Sorry. um, I'm talking about literal keys and literal doors. And it's like when you have two wires, it's like if there's a short in it, so it's like when there's a short in a cord or something, so you have to position it just right for the thing to turn on. It's like you're positioning it, and sometimes like the light will flash when you get it like just right, but then you're like, oh, I missed it, and it's hard for you to keep it on. It's like that, but it's learning to keep it on. Now, it's difficult because it's like you have a wire the size of your finger, and then this is not meant to be graphic in any nature, but my immature brain just cannot stop interpreting it that way. So forgive my own immaturity. Sometimes I'm still like a 14-year-old boy. I don't necessarily like it, but I've accepted it because that's all I can do. So, like, this is the connection, and this is the hole in which, like, you're trying to get things to light up for the light to go on, right? So it's like you're trying to do that, and when it's aligned perfectly, the light comes on. But it's like your finger is too big. So when you integrate shadow, it's like it reduces the size of your finger. So now I can do this, and I can actually put it inside of there, and it stays. Now it's more fully connected, like all the time. But without that shadow integration, it's like the thing that you're trying to put into the port is too big. So the connectors will align if you like jiggle it a little bit, but you can't establish that connection. And that's Pisces' challenge right now, I guess. To actually handle all the fear, doubt, worry, and anxiety magnified and amplified outside of you and inside of you that keeps you from claiming all of the sun energy, living your truth, being the most of your light. So that's Pisces' challenge right now. Are these all going to be challenges? I don't know. I don't know. I hope you have a good whatever, whenever, Pisces, and I hope you're acting in alignment to make it even better. And now we're going to move on. This is going to be a long one. Ooh, next is Virgo, Prince of Pentacles. Let me look at this one since I looked at the last one. Oh, snap. We got some a little bit of leg action going on. All right. We got some peacock feathers. Virgo looking kind of cute. Let me stop. Sorry. Girl, what's hitting my Venus right now? What's transiting my Venus? Ain't nothing transiting my Venus right now. Actually, no, I'm coming out of a Venus square because my Venus is in Aries and Venus is in Capricorn. Oh, I'm moving from a Venus square to a Venus sextile when it goes into Aquarius. Oh, goodness. All right, Virgo. Where you at? Here you are. Virgo, you're going to be 1:54:47. Virgo. Virgo. Wherefore art thou, Virgo? Let's see what major you come out with. I'm feeling like High Priestess. I'm feeling something watery. Oh, it's the Fool. What's your minor? Maybe your minor will be like, watch it not even be a cup card. I'm so bad at guessing sometimes. Oh, it's the Two of Cups. Okay, all right. So that's pretty watery. The Fool and the Two of Cups. That's a lot of water, right? I mean, to dive into that Two of Cups. I was like, I know I'm feeling something watery. I'm feeling something watery, right? I guess the High Priestess isn't necessarily like a watery energy. It's a card associated with water through the moon, I guess. Or through Cancer or Pisces or even Scorpio, but it's not like a watery energied card. So the Fool is here, and the Two of Cups is here. Virgo could be an energy that is its own biggest critic. It is. And I ain't got no Virgo in me, so unless we're talking about Vedic and my Jupiter is in Virgo, but with my Vedic Jupiter being in Virgo, I'm an Aquarius sun, so Jupiter ain't even my ruler at that point. So like, still ain't really got no Virgo. I wonder if my Saturn is still in Aquarius. Or if it's in Capricorn. No, I looked the other day. My Saturn is like 29 degrees Capricorn in Vedic. Oh, so my traditional ruler is Capricorn in Vedic. That makes sense. I'm an extremely principled person. Aquarius sun, Saturn in Capricorn. Okay. Anyway. Where would my Uranus be though? I don't know. Let's not right now. I think my Uranus is in Sagittarius and Vedic. I can see that. So the Fool is the Mevlevi Sufi Sama ceremony. I probably completely mispronounced this. At the beginning, it is the end. At the end, it is the beginning. The highest point is the lowest, but from the lowest, the highest might be attained. This is the path of the holy fool, the madman filled with the ecstasy of union. Two of Cups. What wisdom is concealed in his insane words? What love hidden in the chaos of his whirling cloth and mind? Truly, God comes to us as the madman crying aloud in the streets, as the unutterable truth that spills from the tongue in ululations and wild cries for its ineffability. You see me dance, you see the wildness in my step, and only the whites of my eyes in my drunkenness. But you do not see the union in my heart, nor the indescribable peace in my soul. For I am not I. I is the trap that will hold you in this grave world. Knowing yourself is knowing only your tomb. Join my dance, let your head grow dizzy from the maddening spinning, drink deeply of the wine of the beloved. Inhale the opiate of the divine breath that is all, and you shall be as the sacred fool. You shall know the ecstasy of union and liberation from the chains of I. You shall be crazy and holy, knocking as a madman at the door of the beloved. Only when you cannot think of I without thinking of God, when you turn your head in all directions and there is always God, will the door be open to not you. And then there shall only be one in all and nothing, and your days will be an eternity and a moment, all in the divine bliss of union. So, I don't know. This might be Virgo's challenge. It may be a challenge for Virgo. It might be. All of that I've gotten out of that, like the I is the trap. It's like you and all of who you view yourself as, all that you think you are, it's keeping you from the truth of you. And it's like, how well do you know yourself? That's also interesting because, um, I'm hoping to help get someone out there closer to finding the truth of who they are outside of the them that they've been because of what the circumstances of their incarnated experience has led them to be. Excuse me. But for Virgonian energy, it's like strictly adhering to this view of the self that may not be the true self. I is the trap. And it's the union between God and not you. Two of Cups. Can there be any greater blessing than to share love with another? To find the same flame that burns in your heart and in the heart of another? What ills cannot be healed with companionship? What evils cannot be withstood in the name of love? In a world of anger and boundaries, it is love that will be our salvation. This is the path of hearts united, of affection given freely, of the healing words that are, I love you. This path, my path, is the path of the friend, the companion, and the lover. For love is love, though it manifests in a multiplicity of forms. Its power is the same, no matter the hearts that are united. Walk my path and know the sweetness of care and intimacy, of whispered affections and inspiring acts. I offer a road of tenderness. I offer a road of tenderness, the journey of becoming through another, the mirror of the soul held up in the soul of a companion. Let me reveal my mystery to you with soft kisses and words of friendship, and even on the lonely roads to come, you will carry warmth of feeling and understanding of union with the divine. They put union with the divine in there. This is a union of God and the divine with not I. It's that um, there's this one song from this one album that has some stuff, and it's like, what is the nature of I? What does that word mean? I'm sure it's like from a movie or something because a lot of the stuff on this album is from movies. Um, but it's like, what does that word mean or point to? Something timeless. And when you say I, you point to the thing that doesn't change. It cannot be what happens to you. It cannot be a thought, an emotion, or a feeling. Because thoughts, emotions, and feelings all change. But I is constant and unchanging. So it's the union between that which is within you that is unchanging and the divine. I would venture to say that that which within you and is unchanging is already closely aligned to the divine, and that's what is that, like, the part of you that is connected to that which knows all, and the part of you that is connected to the source, or that which flows between all. But I will stand in the way of, or the conception of I that you have will stand in the way of you and all of that. Now, Virgo is supposed to be the purity and the sanctity of anything. Then it's like, wow, okay. And there is like a highly logical side of Virgo. But it's like, again, it's what you've built stands between you and a more complete knowing. What you perceive, it's like your very foundation is biased against getting you where it is that you want to be or need to be. It's biased against you being in full and complete union with all that there is. And so it's like Virgo needs to let go of their ego, but it's not ego in the way that a lot of times we hear of the word ego. I just got some little crown tingle because I'm trying to like think of what, like, anything, but I feel like the more I try to think about it, the blanker my mind is. And with that little crown tingle, it's like the more I try to think of like not you and the union between not you and the divine, when I try to go there with my mind, it's like I'm entering a meditation. It's like when I try to go there, my mind is like clearing in order to facilitate that. It's that which exists before all of the filters that have been put on this experience. I think that's why like my mind is clearing, because to reach that space, like, those are all of the things that define I. It's your experiences, your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings, how you come to be, how you want to operate and navigate in the world, what you think proper magnetism and alignment is, and you coordinating your actions to align with that. But it's something that exists before all of that. So that's why I feel like it's so hard to define. I mean, it's something that defies definition, so why do I even try? And I guess I wouldn't say that this is necessarily a challenge for Virgo. I think the challenge more for Virgo would be like, well, what am I supposed to do if there's like to do nothing? Virgo, like the analytical, composed, compartmentalizing, organizing, purifying part of Virgo, I think, is what is going to be, or that aspect of Virgonian energy is going to be what is challenged here. Because in the process of purification, there is something that is inherently being removed from something else. But it's like, instead of purifying something, it's being purely something. And it's like, well, how can you be pure something before you purify it? This ain't for me to know, Virgo. This y'all stuff. This y'all stuff. Like I said, I ain't got no Virgo in my chart at all. So I got everything except Virgo. But also, when you have everything except something, you know what that is, right? It's like, I was watching this one show and they went looking for somebody. They went looking for the ruler of that domain. And there was a person who mapped everything. And they were like, oh, the person who maps everything will know where that person is. And they go to that person and they're like, hey, like, do you know where this person is? It's like, no, like, I've mapped everything, but like, there was one area that I wasn't allowed to map. So I mapped in great detail everything around it. So essentially, he had a map of it because that was the one thing he couldn't map. And so they knew exactly where to search. Now, the person that they were looking for wasn't there, but there they got a clue and a hint to where he was. And it's that energy of like, sometimes it is the thing that is the most absent that provides the greatest clue. Because otherwise, you have a whole world to search, right? But when that's like the one thing that's not there, that's it's a good starting point. And maybe that's where you can start looking for the not you, Virgo, or where you can start connecting to the not you. But again, this is tricky because it's like the more words or the more things you find, the more that becomes I instead of not I. I don't know. Virgo, this one is beyond me. I'm going to actually pull a die. I'm going to pull the D12. I'll pull two of them. And I'll roll them to see if there's a zodiac energy that could help you in this. I'll do the light one and then the dark one. Now the dark one is like purple, but it was supposed to be. Yeah, I don't have to get into specifics. Why am I always trying to overdefine things? I don't know. This is like. I mean, yeah, I would be tempted to say meditation. In whatever way it connects you to not you. And maybe that's a thing. Connecting you to not you. Because then it's like you're still present. Maybe, I don't know. Let me just roll these dice. So, energies that can be helpful for Virgo and getting here. You got the 5 and the 1. Aries and Leo. That's interesting. And then I see the 1 here on that side of the 5. So that's fire energy. Aries and Leo. Fire energy kind of sort of just is. And Sagittarius is a very cerebral fire. So maybe that's why Sagittarius isn't here, because it's not about thinking or perceiving. With Aries and Leo energy, it's about like just being. Before all of the thought, before all of the perception, you being you. You being you. It's like, I'm not going to think about anything today. I'm just going to do it. Maybe Aries and Leo energy, something within that paradigm dynamic will be helpful to you, supposedly. Take it as it resonates. All right, Virgo. I hope you have a good whatever whenever you see this. I love y'all's Virgos. I love all the signs. But I have a great many Virgo. Well, okay. I got a great many Virgo best friends. I got some Aries best friends. And I got like other best friends. Leos. I got a few Leos, surprisingly. Not surprisingly, but that one was a shocker to me. I mean, like my mom, my auntie, my brother, my grandpa, they are Pisces, and I got some good Pisces friends. Anyway, I hope y'all have a good whatever whenever you see this. I hope that whatever this is, I have no words for this. So I hope you're acting in alignment with that which would bring you what you wish to experience in life. And I will catch y'all when I catch y'all. All right, next is the Prince of Wands. Speaking of Sagittarius, we're getting through all the immutable signs now. All the immutable signs coming out. All right, Saggies. Sagittarius. Excuse me. I have a Sagittarius best friend. I got a few Sagittarian good friends. Or, yeah, because Aka's a Sagittarius. Trey is a Sagittarius. Z is a Sagittarius. That's my best friend. Or one of my best friends. I got multiple best friends. And they're all the best. 2:14:22. 2:14:28. All right, Sagittarius. I did not hit the mic button on the 22, so we go 28 instead. Sagittarius, your major is the Hierophant. We may be doing challenges this week. We may be doing challenges to archetypal zodiac energy. Because I think Sagittarius' greatest challenge can be structure. Now, it's more of a philosophical, higher level of thinking structure. I think sometimes Sagittarius gets into that. They view everything from that perspective. They really go far with that, but then it blinds them to everything outside of it. Just like for whoever it was, maybe it was for Taurus, it said something like an arrow is often off course. The major is the Five of Cups. Oof, well. Hashtag not all Sagittariuses have commitment issues. Hashtag that, first and foremost. I've been seeing the Five of Cups so much. So let me just read to see what this is. Or this, it's almost this energy of not finding community, not finding comfort and compassion in a space that it should be there. Right? And maybe that's why Sagittarius is such a global energy here. Because you couldn't find it at home. And so now you go searching the world for it. And it may be that by the time you reach the end of the world, you realize that what you were searching for was inside of you and with you from the very beginning. Potentially, maybe not. We'll see. This may not be a challenge. Let me read these before I just open my mouth. But hey, I mean, am I wrong? But think about we could be something for real. Oh yeah. That's like all I know. That's just how I feel. This is Tibetan Buddhism and the Dalai Lama. The Hierophant. The sacred is given to man as an open book to be read, but a teacher is required to teach the art of reading. No student learns alone. Even the rocks, the rivers, and trees may impart their wisdom to those with ears and an eager heart. Man is gifted with a desire to know and build for himself a fort of wisdom, yet he must first learn that there is nothing new on this earth, and that all revelations and invention rest on the foundations of history. That which I teach has been spoken by countless guides across the ages. It has reached the ears and touched the hearts of those who have long since passed on. Though the teachers and students have gone, the song still remains. I am the singer of that song, and you are the listener. Follow my mysteries, and you will find the foundation upon which you may build your journey. Pay heed to my words, and you will come to know the strictures and rituals by which you are bound in order to be set free. Watch the gestures of my lesson, and you will come to understand the discipline required so that the sacred may be revealed to you. For these are mysteries and secrets, though they are dressed in the appearance of the mundane. Do not think that they will be given to you without devotion and faith. I am your teacher and your test. I am the revealer of wisdom and the concealment in plain sight. The fickle may hear my words without listening to the lesson, may see my rituals without seeing their meaning. But come to know me as the channel through which the divine speaks, and understand the establishment of wisdom as truth, and you shall truly be a seeker in the mysteries of the sacred. Five of Cups. Is it Wands and then Cups? Yep, it's Wands. Oh, look, we're pretty close. There was the 6. If I can get this page to turn, there's the 5. After love must come pain. From all attachment comes grief. Whether through choice or unfeeling death, our beloved ones fade from us, and we cling in our suffering to their shades though our cries disappear on the wind. All mortals know this deep wound in the heart. The pain that is so strong that it cannot be given words. I can't read this. I'm getting all kind of twisted inside. I'm gonna start from the top. After love must come pain. From all attachment comes grief. Whether through choice or unfeeling death, our beloved ones fade from us, and we cling in our suffering to their shades, though our cries disappear on the wind. All mortals know this deep wound in the heart, the pain that is so strong that it cannot be given to words, yet will not remain silent. I am that anguished lament that is torn from the widow's throat, the cry for what has been that arises from the fear of the present. I am that shadow behind all who grieve, bearing witness to the private performance of loss, knowing the pain within that outward actions only begin to express. My name is unspeakable, yet I am companion to all for a time along their path. I am called tears and the lamentation of sorrow, the grip of the dead and the invisible one. Shrouded by my mantle, you may wail and tear at your cheeks, beat your fists and rage at the heavens. I will hold you like the boat that carries sailors over storm-tossed seas. Beware that my embrace becomes too familiar. I have fingers that cling. Know that this is not my choice, but yours, for it is your hand that presses my fingers to shut closer on your heart. Ooh, that's kind of heavy. This is a little bit of deja vu. Excuse me. It's not complete deja vu because it, like, the image of these cards and me reading that doesn't fit with that deja vu, but this feeling for Sagittarius feels like deja vu to me. Or this message for Sagittarius feels like deja vu to me. I don't know. But like the conditions and the circumstances aren't the same. It's like same message, different circumstances. And it's this feeling of like, have I been here before? Have I done this report before? Am I repeating something? Am I really gonna do this like all over again? Even though it's different, it's still the same. I feel like for Sagittarian energy, there is a clinging. There's a clinging on to something of what you know, of what you believe, because of what it keeps at bay, or because of the feelings that it keeps away. I don't know. It's like there's some kind of painful truth. It's weird because it feels like there's a painful truth that Sagittarius is holding on to because there's a painful truth that Sagittarius doesn't want to hear. I'm gonna go back to the Hierophant because there was something in here. I got it as I was reading it, but then after I read the Five of Cups, it was gone. Oh, it was down here. The fickle may hear my words without listening to the lesson. May see my rituals without seeing their meaning. And for Sagittarian energy, as erudite and wise and learned as it is, I think sometimes it's like it goes through. It's like for all that you have learned, there's so much that you haven't. For all that you seek, there's so much that you don't. And although Sagittarian energy is supposed to be one of deeper knowledge and understanding, it feels surface level. And with the Five of Cups, it's like it's because the perception or the the perception or the reasons for which you seek that which you seek keep you from seeing the truth of it. So maybe that's the painful truth that you hold on to, but also the painful truth that you don't see. And I don't know where the pain is coming in. That may not necessarily, that may be relevant, it may not be. But I think it is the things that we cling on to out of the pain or guilt or remorse or grief. Because it's only as close as we hold it. But it's like in all that Sagittarius knows, there's so much that they don't know because of what it is that they don't see. It's like it's like you're more interested, or the energy is more interested in acquiring knowledge than it is in actually learning. And there's a difference. Because when you learn something, you would see the meaning behind the ritual. And you would hear the lesson behind the words. But when you're just acquiring knowledge, you're like, oh, I know a ritual that we can do for this. And I heard something that we can use here. And so it's like you know what applies where, but you don't know why it's applicable. And without that knowledge of why, the ritual is empty. The words are empty. It's the experience and the actual knowing that gives it power. And so maybe there are some things that you're trying to replicate from other people, but you don't find the same success in it. It's because the meaning and the reason has evaded you. And I think even though I associate that more with the Five of Pentacles, the Five of Cups onto the Hierophant gives a sort of Five of Pentacles energy. And the Five of Pentacles energy for me is us not finding something somewhere where we should have found it. But a lot of times that Five of Pentacles is because we're not asking. And so it's like you're not asking the right questions. It's like you're asking how instead of asking why. Because when you ask how, it's like you get the answer. But when you ask why, you get the reason and you get what goes into it. And when you can understand the subtle things, the motivators, then you can create new things for those spaces. And I think that's Sagittarius' challenge. I love watching Sagittariuses who read cards because for me, I feel like Sagittarius can put like esoteric and spiritual things. Like that's why for me personally, like the Hierophant is a Sagittarian energy. I'd say the Hierophant for me as a reader or as a person, the Hierophant reads more Sagittarius than Taurus. Sagittarius is like the epitome of Hierophant to me because it's capable and able of taking, okay, spiritually, Sagittarius is the Hierophant. Intellectually, probably not. And the difference is, I think intellectually, Sagittarius can sometimes have this energy of like talking over other people's heads, maybe. But spiritually, I feel like Sagittarius is able to like funnel that in such an understandable way and to make it so direct and succinct. Something that is so, or can be so nebulous and abstract and sometimes cosmic, right? But Sagittarius just got a way to like make it plain and understandable. That's why it's like Hierophant for me. Because the Sagittariuses, or a few of the Sagittariuses that I've seen like read, the way they do it, it's just like, oh, okay, work. Some of them more so at sometimes more times than other times. The capacity is there, the capability is there for Sagittarian energy. I see it. Um, I mean, and it does come after the eighth house. It's the eighth house into the ninth house. Eighth house is all of that mysterious things, all of those mysterious things, and the ninth house is that higher levels of thinking and education. And so when we combine those energies, that's when it's like those are the writers of those sacred tomes. Sagittarius is or Sagittarian energy. But again, what's most important is understanding the reasoning behind the reason, the truth behind the rite and the ritual and the practice, the lesson behind the words. Because reciting the words or recreating a ritual isn't inherently going to give the same result. And again, I feel like moving forward, if Sagittarius can understand the why and the how, then it's like Sagittarian energy would be able to modernize things. Because although there is nothing new under the sun, and a lot of what we deal with in some way, shape, form, or fashion, humanity has always been dealing with, now we have technology, now we have materials or substances that are becoming, because of over commodification, they're becoming more and more precious or rare, or we're at risk of losing them more and more because our consumption of them is just so high that Earth can't keep up. Or we just use, like, without that awareness. But there's something about Sagittarius, like if Sagittarius can figure out the why behind the what or the how, then I feel like they'd be able to, it's almost like work in conjunction with Aquarian energy, use that sextile to really pull us forward or to propel us forward. Why pull us forward? Like we got to be dragged. Well, some of us do have to be dragged. Drag me. Yes, read me to filth or for filth. Anyway, sorry. Because Aquarius has that Aries Sagittarius sextile in opposition to Leo. And I'm seeing it as an arrow. Like, here's Aquarius, the opposition to Leo is the shaft of the arrow, and the sextiles to Aquarius and, oh, you can't see me, Aquarius and Sagittarius are like the little tips on the arrow. But that arrow typically points towards Sagittarius, so it does require a 60-degree shift. An arrow is often off course. And it is this really, it's interesting because I think if you know how, and if you know what, and if you know when, if you know how, what, and when, a lot of people can interpret it as you know why. You may interpret it as you know why. But going back to that deja vu feeling, it's like when the principles are the same, but the situation is different, you would be able to see it as the same if you knew why. And the fact that you can't see it as the same, or the fact that you don't recognize it as the same, should illuminate to you that you don't know why. You know what, when, and how. So you know to do this at this time when something else is happening. But you don't know why this thing fulfills all of those conditions. Or you don't know the why behind the thing, because if you knew the why behind the thing, you'd be able to like repurpose this, or you'd be able to shift that arrow to head in this direction now, and you would recognize it as the same. Now for me, it was like, it's like deja vu, but it's not, because things are different, but it's the same. I don't know if Sagittarius would necessarily catch it, Or you may think, or you may see that it's like similar, but without knowing the why, it's like you don't know how to apply this information. And it's like, when you go to school, higher education, academia, it's all based on just learning. Like, this is it. This is it. This is it. This is it. Sometimes we don't necessarily or fully know why. We know the what, the when, and the how. We know what to use, when to use it, and how to apply it, but we don't know why. And for me, it was like freshman year, sophomore year was a lot of the what, when, and how. But when it came to junior year, we were learning why. And we were tested on why. And that was such a dynamic shift that it made things a lot more difficult than what they were. Now, fortunately, unfortunately for me, I had to repeat classes because of external circumstances and poor attendance due to such external circumstances that I wasn't in a position to take care of until when I did, which is why I got my degree now and I never did before. It took the darkest night for me to put myself together. Anyway, after, because there was like these classes that I retook, and it's not that like I didn't know the what, the when, and the how. It's like without attendance and because of the assignments that I missed, my grade was low. But now, since I retook the class, I knew that I needed to learn why. And so I paid more attention to the why. And because I paid more attention to the why, it made everything else infinitely easier. Because now I'm not looking to see how this situation matches all of the ones that I've already learned. I'm not comparing this with the entirety of my data bank. I'm going off of the why, I'm building into the why, and the solution comes a lot easier. Rather than like comparing it to everything that I've learned ever. And they don't necessarily, I mean, I guess they kind of sort of do, but maybe not. But that's like, it switches over to learning the why. The what, the when, and the how is no longer sufficient. Because we're not testing whether or not you can regurgitate information. We're testing now whether you'd be able to, in the real world, take this information and come up with a solution. And in the real world, the problems aren't as nice as they are on tests. Everything that is given in a problem, some of those things may be given in the real world. Some of that stuff you have to determine by experimentation. But yeah, if I had to title this for Sagittarius, it would be why, not what, when, and how. Or it's about learning why, not what, when, and how. And again, I think for Sagittarius that the challenge, I don't think it's necessarily a challenge, but for Sagittarian energy, typically it seems it's about acquiring more and more and more information, not necessarily diving into the meanings and the understandings behind why each is there. And those are things that typically it takes a Hierophant to teach, but the Hierophant teacher isn't necessarily going to make it it's not going to necessarily make it that plain. But when you take the teachings of the Hierophant and you integrate the natural world around you and you introduce your own spirituality, that's what begins to tie and connect everything, and that's what begins to get you to see that which lies behind everything, to really begin to perceive the truth of things and the why behind certain things. But a lot of what we know now, a lot of what's passed down, a lot of the information available now is the what, when, how. But, there's the part of you that is connected to that which knows all. So, even if no one's teaching it, That's what I got for you, Sagittarius. I hope you have a good whatever, whenever, and I hope you're acting in alignment to make the reality that you wish to experience your actual experience. Next, we're going to move on over to, how many of these do I have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not even halfway through. This is going to be a long one. Next is the Queen of Cups. Come through, Cancer. Where my phone is? I took my phone off the leash. Oh, here it is. Okay. Sagittarius, I ain't started Cancer yet. I just got, let's see. Because I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'll just let the dice tell me. What's an energy that will help Sagittarius? Aries and Leo. Aries and Leo again. But it's on, I think, different die. I think the first time this one said Leo and this one said Aries. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this one said Aries, this one said Leo. Now this one says Aries and this one says Leo. So for you, it's those are trining energies. Aries and Leo, again, I think it's through their nature of just being or just doing rather than intellectualizing everything. I think, because if I think about it, it's like with Aries being the spark and Leo being the blazing fire. It's this energy, it's Gemini. But it's this energy of like doing something and then seeing how it affects the world around you. Rather than, but it's without that preconceived notion of what's happening. Right? It's like experimenting but without a hypothesis. You're just seeing what nature will do, because when you have a hypothesis, it makes it a lot easier for you to dismiss things as outliers that don't confirm or conform with what it is that you actually believe. And when you have the mindset of disregarding everything that doesn't conform to what it is that you already believe, it keeps you stuck. And I think that, I'm not going to say every Sagittarius, but I think that can be the shadow side of Sagittarian energy. Because it's like, again, it's like that academic. It's like all of those established scientists and whoever, maybe that's not the best example, but when it was a more commonly held belief that the earth is flat, there were many proofs and reasons why we thought it was flat at that time. And those were well-established people. And so any evidence or proof otherwise, they automatically disregarded because they are the ones who know, they are the ones who have researched, and all of that is nonsense. But then come to find out, now it's more commonly believed that the earth is round. And it's that same energy. When you approach it with a desired outcome, it influences the way that you see things. And I think that's why it may be more difficult to get to the actual reason why behind it, or to see how the things done in their time lead to that what result. Instead of learning the conditions, it's about really knowing the principles and properties behind it. And again, it feels like Sagittarius is like, I am, like I know, that's what I do. But it's like, not really. Because you do it with a destination already in mind. And again, it causes you to miss or disregard things that are very key and influential. Right? It's like you can study a car all day long, but if you disregard the engine or the battery, you can recreate it, but it's not going to work. And it's not that the engine or the battery is a small piece, but it's like there's a small, like when rockets go up in the air and then they explode, and then they're like, oh, there was this one O-ring. There was an O-ring somewhere that was loose or missing, and then the whole thing fell apart because of an O-ring, or because of a single nut, bolt, or screw that was out of place. The whole thing fell apart. You can't look at those small individual pieces as inconsequential or unimportant and get the same understanding. But anyway, I think that Aries Leo, just like being and doing and being out in the world, naturally getting that reaction back without all of the thought or premeditation, would get you to see more, potentially. It said Aries and Leo, apply that in whatever way you think may be helpful. Sorry, Cancer. Now it's your time. I feel like shuffling these. I'm going to shuffle these. I don't know why I'm feeling it, but I am. I'm only going to shuffle the ones that we haven't seen yet. Whoa! Why is the Nine of Pentacles upright? Hold up, wait. We started with the Nine of Pentacles. So these two of Swords, Five of Swords, or Two of Swords, Seven of Swords. Yeah, I don't know why I put the Two of Swords and the Seven of Swords back face up. Taurus and Cancer is sextile, so there may be some, and those are both of the cozy signs. They're two cozy signs, right? Homebody signs. I'm just playing, kinda. The food signs. They're both the chefs. They're the chefs of the zodiac, the cooks. Taurus and Cancer. Taurus is like luxury and comfort. Cancer is home. There's some overlap there. And Libra is the aesthetic. The aesthetique. All right. Or maybe there's a little bit of a bullheaded Cancer, or a need to be a little less bullheaded. If there's an energy of the wolf and the wild unknown animal spirits, where it's like wolf energy needs to learn that while it does sort of set the trail for those who come behind, it also needs to accept that there will be some that will still choose to walk their own paths, or to walk that path in their own way. And that's okay. 2:46:25. Has it really almost been 3 hours? Did I just spend half an hour on Sagittarius? I ain't gonna cheat nobody out of the time that they deserve. But this is getting a lot longer than I thought it was. This is gonna be a 5-hour video. This is why I'm not uploading it though. This is why I'm doing it live, I guess. Oh, well, there's the sun at the bottom, Cancer. You got the wheel. Why did that turn the beat around? Just pop into my mind. Is it gotta feel perfection or percussion or what? Let's look up the lyrics. Nah, let's not. Because I think it's perfection. The Wheel and the Ten of Pentacles for Cancer? What? Now, if we go back to the theme of challenges, I ain't gotta make this that for Cancer. I don't. But I also don't think it's an accident that I was talking about the wolf. Because with the Wheel and the Ten of Pentacles, there is this energy. The Ten of Pentacles is a highly familial card. But the Wheel of Fortune is a card of change. And there's this energy of Cancerian, like there's this energy of like trying to force things to be a certain way, but needing to accept that they, like, it's not necessarily going to be that way, or that things aren't the same. But I think if you can accept that, then you get the outcome that you're desiring, if you have a desire for a fortuitous outcome. And I just got real hungry. Let's go to the wheel. Get up, you're asleep at the wheel. The wheel is the cult of Demeter. Mankind is born from the before gods, fragments of the great titans that came before the heavenly ones, yet their lot is given to them on the plains of wheat and flour, fruit and tree. Through the turning seasons they live out their days, and in their time they wear many faces. Like all creatures given life, they are at the mercy of change. It is as constant and reliable as the earth beneath your feet, as the sun's rising with every dawn. It surrounds you in the budding and the blooming and the dying, in birth, life, death, and rebirth. It is my word and my embrace, my promise to mankind, that there is nothing new under the sun, but all returns. I am of the earth and of the mysteries, and these titles are not opposed. I am the mistress of change and have given to mankind the laws of the universe. That change will be your ever present companion, and by the rituals of change you will measure out your lives and come to know the mysteries of the soul's transformation. Excuse me. For your soul is as seeds of corn, descending into the earth to grow to their fullness, surrounded by matter. Time and time again they will be freed from the soil and rise up towards the light, there to be threshed and ground and return once more to whence they came. Like the seasons, your soul will always walk a path of change. Descend into the chamber of my mysteries, and you will be shown the planting and growing, the threshing and the consuming. Then you will truly know how to walk on the roads of change. So how comfortable are you with change, Cancer? Cardinal water would suggest very comfortable, because change is or fluidity and flow is an inherent property of water, but life would indicate that there aren't many who are that accepting of change. Many people measure success in coin and personal status. They look to themselves and the journey they have taken, the path they have walked, to reach great heights of achievement. Yet the success of one dies and fades with the passing of time. It is weak, and its song will not linger for long. These are my mysteries. That true success lies in all, elevating everybody rather than one. That it is found in the lineage you create, that it can be granted and inherited. This is the greatest gift you can give, to ensure that those who come after you are better than you, have greater stores of wisdom. Just as your bones will one day be the foundation upon which your descendants will rest, so let your words and wisdom, your skill and wealth, be the basis of their continued success. This is my road. My name is long life and sweet health, memory and lineage. I am the Lord of long-lasting success and the ties that bind. Mine is the sweetness of knowing your memory will live on, your line will continue, and that the small difference you have made in the world in your span of years may be greater with each passing generation's success. Excuse me. That question of what we do or what we can do, no. The question of how is one generation supposed to be better than the next generation when all we have to pour into those who come after us is what was poured into us arises. And so there is a duty and a responsibility that then falls on us to better ourselves from what was poured into us, to leave better for those who come after us. And so, too, after we beget others, is it our responsibility to allow them to walk their own paths, to build upon what we instill in them so that they may have more to leave to the generations that come after them. And that's that Wheel of Fortune, or that's this Wheel of Fortune, Ten of Pentacles, legacy, dynamic, family energy. That others will need to walk their own path in order to build upon what it is that we leave them. And I think the challenge for Cancerian energy then comes when they make choices or they choose paths that we would view, or you, Cancerians, would view as not beneficial, detrimental, or that you would view as a detour for them in some way. And there's also an inherent release involved in legacy, because let's say you establish a legacy, you establish a wealth that lasts for many generations. You establish a wealth intended to last for at least 10 generations, or it has the capability to last for 10 generations. But 4 generations down, someone inherits it, and now that wealth stops with them. Somehow, now there are 6 generations in your line that don't have the wealth that you generated or intended for them to have. But after you pass on, you have no bearing and no say over how what you've created and what you've left is used and established. You don't have that luxury, or quite frankly, that right. And a lot of times when we build or we establish or we set something aside for someone, or when we give birth or when we take charge, we think we have right and responsibility to dictate and determine the life of another, but that is not the case. You don't. You don't have the right to do that. And if you think it's your right to do that, then don't give it. Don't do it. Don't set it aside in the first place. Because we all have the right to choose and decide for ourselves what we do with what's given to us. You have no say over how someone else lives their life, or how someone else spends the money that you give them, or whatever. Because they have the right and the freedom to choose. And I'm not going to tell you to be selfish or whatever. To be a little selfish, shellfish. I shouldn't even try. My tongue is already twisted. To be a little selfish, shellfish. Like, I'm not telling you to do that, but you have no say over how someone else lives their life, even if that is your own child. You have no say. Like, once you give them that money is theirs. Should they honor you and do what you intended them to do with it? Yeah, sure. Do they have to? No, because once it's in their hands, it's theirs. And so I feel like there is a little bit of control here for Cancer somewhere. And it's almost like if you're the type of person that always wants to be a mother or a father, what kind of inherently comes with that is the vision of who and how your family is going to be. Right? It's like the type of person you're going to be married to, the type of kids you're going to have. Like, oh, I'm going to have them, like, they're going to be like taking piano and violin lessons. Also, they're going to be learning foreign languages, and they're going to be involved in sports because I want my children to be well-rounded. And it's all of these desires for the life that you have for someone else to live, a life that is not your own. And if they have no interest in piano or violin or any musical instrument, if they have no interest in sports or learning a foreign language, if they want to be an accountant and that's all that they are concerned with, that's their right to live their life how they wish to live it. And you being the person that held that vessel and then brought it into the world, and you fulfilling your duties as a parent when you have children, does not give you the right or responsibility or the right to determine and dictate how it is that they live their lives. That's you fulfilling the responsibility that you take upon yourself when you have a child. The child owes you nothing for being born. It doesn't. Should it be grateful that you provide for it? Yes, it should be. Does it have to be? No. And it's that child's right to live its own life. It doesn't have to do what you want it to do or be what you wanted and who you wanted. It gets to be what it wants to be. And if everything conformed perfectly, it would take the magic of the wheel out of the wheel. And without the magic of the wheel, these 10 pentacles will die before you even get to 3. or they'll die at 3 because you can't cooperate and work with an outside force that isn't you. So it'll die before you get to the 4. And you got to hit the 4 before you get to the 10. Some people may be like, oh, the 4 of Pentacles is whatever anyway. You got to get 4 before you get 10. You got to have 5 Pentacles before you get 10 Pentacles. And you most definitely got to have 7 and 8 Pentacles before you get 10 Pentacles. The Bible says, train them up in the way that they should go. My mama says that all the time. I don't remember the rest. But all I know is the Bible says, train them up in the way that they should go. You instill the best of what you have to give to your child. And then you let them learn and build upon that foundation of understanding through life in their own way. Once it's time to let go, it's time to let go. And so before you, I guess, get involved with any creative endeavor, or before you set yourself to establish anything that is meant to last for multiple generations, also know and understand that whoever inherits that has the right to do with it what it is that they please. And this right that they have, it's cosmic, it's universal, it's their God-given right as someone with their own soul and will and life to proceed with their own life the way that they want to proceed with. Now, you may say, like, legally, it is your right. Legally, they have to do this, and that with the money or with this foundation or whatever, or legally they are removed. I'm not talking about legalities here. I'm talking about them being a person, having their own life and their own desires and will. It's their right to pursue that. It's their right to refuse what it is that you offer them if they don't want it. And it should be for you as a caring, kind, compassionate mother, Cancer, or mother energy, Cancer, to allow them to do that. This is allowing the shift and change in those 10 of Pentacles dynamics of legacy and inheritance. And I don't necessarily know how big of a challenge that is for Cancerian energy. But I think sometimes, again, going to the fantasy of being a mother, there's oftentimes a certain family dynamic that's involved, or a certain house. Like, there's a lot of like watery, dreamy energy there, but water is not earth in that it is not a vessel. It takes whatever shape and form is presented to it. And so sometimes there's a little bit of compromise. Sometimes things are going to be a little bit different than what it is that you planned or expected. But I think if you stay that mutability that is your element, rather than the cardinality that is your modality, that it'll work out ultimately in a beautiful and gorgeous way, perhaps maybe even better than you expected. Right? Let's say that you are building something that is meant to last 1 or 2 generations. And during the course of your lifetime, someone inherits that and they start to take it in a different direction. And let's say that in all of that, you've spent your lifetime doing this or building this, so someone else can come behind you and do exactly what you want them to do with it rather than live their own lives. Let's say you prevent them from doing something in their own way with that inheritance. Let's say you prevent them from investing in something, because this investing is an easier example. And within the course of your own lifetime, you witness the exponential growth of whatever it is that you stopped someone else from investing their inheritance on. So within your own lifetime, you come to see that how had you allowed that person to do what it is that they wanted with what it is that they had inherited, it would have compounded that to last many, 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 many generations. Let's say that is the magnitude that the investment experienced. That's the magnitude of growth that that investment experienced. Let's say it was an apple and you had enough money to last a few generations. Y'all were set. And you were like, oh no, Apple, that's done, that's stupid, that's not going to go anywhere. And now you're like, wow, Apple's worth billions. And if I would have allowed that investment at that time, that what I set out would have been multiplied manyfold had I allowed that change or that misdirection to happen in that time. And that's what we have to lose out on when, from our current position, our current understanding, our current situation, or the past that we've experienced, we limit the future and the projection of that moving forward. But that's why we all have our own hopes, goals, and dreams. It's to build upon what came before and to expand upon that and to give more. And it's looking like Cancer is really needing to do that. Now, conversely, or on another note, this could be the Wheel of Fortune turning in your favor and money, 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 money. No. What is it? Money, 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 money. Money. I forget how many monies are in it. It could be that. A lot of things could be a lot of things. Take it as it resonates always. That's what I have for you, Cancer. I hope you have a good whatever whenever you see this, and I hope you're acting in alignment to make it even better. I'm actually going to take a break here, and then I'll come back tomorrow and I'll finish the other signs. And so I'm going to leave these as they are. Not going to touch them, so we can go right back through it. I mean, I guess I just shuffled the ones that I hadn't seen anyway, so that's what I got for the first almost half of the zodiac. Since I introduced the all sign, I think that's what threw it off a little bit. So today is challenges. Maybe it'll be challenges tomorrow for the rest of the zodiac. Maybe it'll be blessings coming for the rest of the zodiac tomorrow. I don't know. We'll live life and we'll find out. Live life and see as my new motto, I guess. Is that new? Not really. That's kind of been my motto for a while. Now the live life part is less. It's less like, oh, I don't want to do anything, so I'm just gonna live life and hope that everything is resolved for me. It's less of that and more of, I'll do what I can in the moments that I'm guided to do them, and then I will see what life has to offer me in return. So that's what I have for y'all today. I will put these timestamps in the description. I do want a little bit of a final message. Oh, I was like, where's my other bag? I'll take it with the white die. This will be a final one for today. Actually, yeah, I'll take it with this one. And we'll see. We'll see. I do major, minor, chord. So I'll just do these 3. Or technically 4. I'm gonna need my glasses for this one. I didn't change the ink color, so it's still yellow, but on my phone, I can zoom in and read it. So, final message. Well, that one's already out. I'll honor it. 90 something. Final messages today. So we have 20, 99, and 7. 99 and a half won't do. Lord, I'm running, trying to make 199. Oh, I heard that song in a minute. 3:08:47. All right, final messages for anyone who's seen this. First half-ish of the zodiac. Here we go. 99. Is that Pluto? I think 99 is Pluto. I think it's Pluto. Yeah, 99 is Pluto. So we got Pluto, Judgment, and Libra. Okay. Pluto, Judgment, and Libra. I feel like those energies, I'm just going to say, take it as you will. Those defy all explanation or attempts. That is, it's heavy if it's heavy, it's great if it's great. Because Pluto, I've been trying to like, as Uranus is becoming more of a key player or more relevant through its conjunction with Mars lately, I've been trying to determine and decide some of the differences between Uranian energy and Plutonian energy. Because both involve change, both involve challenge. Uranus to me is like really fast, it's a lot, it's unexpected, and it's like the tower. It's gonna fall. There's nothing to do to save it. Pluto, though, to me, it's slower. It's not as unseen. It may be unexpected, but the influences that led to that gradual, it was like gradual. It's a gradual death, it's a gradual decay, it's a gradual decline. Like when things die, they don't instantly become skeletons, right? That decay happens over time. And so if you leave something rotten and you come back in a year, expect some skeleton, unless it's like cold and the cold slows the rate of decline. It ain't about all that. But I'm trying to decide or not decide, I'm trying to feel into whether or not sometimes Pluto will just leave something. Because Pluto is death and rebirth. So I wonder if Pluto will leave things as dead that choose not to be reborn. That's the question. And then Judgment in Libra, it's like this Wheel of Fortune energy, but it's like Wheel of Fortune meets justice. So the wheel will turn in whichever direction the scales have decided. Now, Judgment, although a lot of times it's grander cosmic energy, it's feeling personal. Like what we've decided and determined, and how our actions speak to that. So either we will just straight up die, or we will be reborn. And when I say just straight up die, I don't mean like a literal death. Either we're gonna go into the death phase and not really come out of the death phase because of what we've decided to not do, or we're gonna come into the rebirth phase because of what we decided to do. The death was inevitable. Our choice is, do we stay 6 feet under, or do we give it another go? And it reminds me of the back of the death card, in which the two people are offering, they're bringing their offerings, and they're paler than they are on the front of the card. So it's implied that they're dead, and they're making their offerings to be reborn. But the offering, it's more of something that it's like you're deciding to learn, or a way in which you're deciding to grow, something that you're wishing to accomplish that you hadn't yet done. And the offering is like a token of your commitment to actually doing it. And then if the offering is accepted, you get another chance. You hit that rebirth where you get to do all of the things that you know to do better now that you knew to do before, but for whatever reason you weren't doing it. So if you decide to still not do it, it makes sense that you stay in the decay that you're in, because nothing changes, so nothing changes. But if you do things differently, that's when you come into that rebirth. That's when things begin to change because you've changed and you're doing things differently. So it's not as cosmic or esoteric as it is just kind of sort of, if you continue to do the same thing, you'll meet the same result. If you continue to ignore or not face or to bypass or distract yourself from the things that actively and subactively, and subactively being like it's not passive, but it's not as direct or apparent as the more active effects are. Directly, indirectly, and passively be affected by these things. When you choose to address them, then they no longer affect you and you're free to move forward. It's like some birds. That was weird. Have y'all ever watched Naruto? And you know the Chidori sound effect when Sasuke does the Chidori and you hear all those like chirping birds? That's what it sounded like. Anyway, that's that judgment in Libra. And judgment is kind of in reverse because the 20 is upside down. So that it's more internal than external. Although with Libra, with this Libran energy, there are external ramifications to these internal choices. It's like these things that reverberate outside of us. When you don't do the work, you continue to make the same choices, you encounter the same experiences. That's something you experience outside of you, directly related to what happens or doesn't happen inside of you. When you do grow, when you do evolve, when you do give to yourself the things that you need to give to you so that you're no longer looking to get them from other people, then you find yourself in new spaces and new situations. The outside is mirroring what was done on the inside. It can be esoteric and mystical and all kinds of things, or it can be just like when you don't do anything different, nothing different happens type of energy. If you have done the different things will begin to happen. So that's what I got. I hope y'all have a good whenever you see this. Again, I hope you're acting in alignment to make whatever experience you wish to experience your reality. I hope you are aligning to it and acting in alignment with it. And I will catch y'all tomorrow with the rest of the zodiac because this is longer than I thought it was going to be. Bye.